Hello everyone and welcome to Demon Media number 46, where today we're going to be discussing The Dragon Prince Season 6, which was the book about stars. So today we have a lovely guest with us, my co-host over here.
I am Miko-chan 215, also known as Abigail.
So welcome, thank you for joining. Bate's also here as well, so it's very excited. So my name's Jen. I'm Jen Period Crossways 45 on most socials, which you can find all of that down below, as well as our guest socials as well. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with a little bit of housekeeping. So before we begin, we do not claim anything on the show. We are merely fans reviewing the show. The Dragon Prince is a Netflix series with the creator Aaron E. Haas and Justin Richmond. We will be talking about the various episodes, with both of us covering the final episode, then giving final thoughts about Season 6, some spoilers for Season 7, before wrapping up the recording for today. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So again, we're covering Season 6, which was Stars. It came out on July 26, 2024. The story follows closely after season 5 and shows Kareem preparing to battle Queen Janai. The teens are trying to hide the pearl with the celestial elves, and Claudia is attempting to free someone from the stars. And there was no reflections beforehand. I triple checked. I didn't see any reflections. I don't think the graphic novel came out beforehand, so it really just went in right after season 5 into season 6, about a year or so afterwards. So that's my spiel. I'm going to go and let Miko-chan take it away with the first chapter.
So the first episode was called Star Touch. Um, it basically begins where you see Erebos crying in a crater. When you first saw this trailer actually started going around social media, and it begins with you don't even see Erebos. You just saw someone like, I'll be honest, it was very ugly sounding crying
Oh.
and almost sounded like fake at times, like fake, like not even like real crying. It was just, I don't know how to even take it at times when I listen to it. Um, if you had just listened to the audio and did not know anything about the show, you would have thought, what am I hearing? Uh, I love the actor who plays. I love Erebos to death and everything. No bad reflections on him and everything, but that clip wasn't a great clip to have gone around first.
Yeah.
we'll, we'll preface that, but but in, but he is very much so a distraught, very distraught man, considering what we will find out later. But he is crying in the crater, and his tears have flown into the water, and you basically start seeing this lake has already flown underneath him. When you see another Touch elf come up behind him, trying to comfort him. Why this elf is trying to comfort him, you don't know at this point. But the Startup elf tells him that this important line will come back to us later. This whole scene is very much so will come back to us later. But she tells him, we are all of us stardust, held together by love for an instant. And that is where they all look to the night sky together. And it transitions to a new scene. So then you switch over to Terry. Terry, our beautiful cinnamon roll, cinnamon bun, minding his own business, collecting sticks, talking to the birds, being the best boy ever. Nothing better ever happened to our boy. Nothing. I'm looking to you, Aaron. Nothing. And he comes across Viren's seemingly lifeless body and starts to panic and cradles him in his arms, just distraught over it. Him. When all of a sudden, Viren wakes up. And of course, he panics.
Mm-hmm.
Viren panics for realizing, oh, wait, I'm alive. He's alive. And they start hugging each other like, oh my gosh, the miracle has happened. I'm alive. He's alive. Yes. So they're so happy. They're rejoicing. And they start heading back to the shore to go tell Claudia, lad, show Claudia, he's alive. It's all great. Erebos was lying to them the whole time because who does what does Erebos know? He's a liar and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Um, However, Claudia turns around to shows them that Erebos was not lying. She is covered in blood, and she has performed the ritual in Viren's place and had sacrificed the being and told her, has followed in Viren's footsteps the lesson that Viren has indirectly drilled into her head that for family, however dangerous, however vile, to protect them, she will do it. And this ideology, ideology, I think that's the word
Think
I'm
so.
looking for,
Sounds good.
feels is a theme that carries on throughout the series. It feels
Mm-hmm.
like it's like become this main theme um, that will keep coming back up. And Viren is horrified by this because he starts lecturing her that children should not suffer for their parents, which is a huge life lesson, especially as a parent myself. Your children should never suffer for your parents. And I love that about Dragon Prince. It literally takes lessons from real life and brings it into a show and introduce these ideas in such a way that is beautiful. These hard, hard lessons and just beautifully just
Yeah.
presents them. So kudos, chef's kiss. But he tells her, they shouldn't suffer for their parents, and what Claudia did was too much to ask for, and it hurts him, it breaks him. Like, you shouldn't have to do this. And then he just becomes even more distraught when he finds out that Claudia has lost her leg in doing all this. And when he finds out that she is wanting to sit here and complete the mission of freeing Erebos, Farron straight up refused. He is done with Erebos. He is done with this path of dark magic. He is wanting to repent. He is wanting to become a good man. He has learned that what he has done, he has driven his family to become this. And he has led her down a path of darkness. And instead he wants to choose freedom. So he wants to return to Catullus and face the consequences of its actions. And instead, Claudia now is starting to beg him, don't do it, don't abandon me. She is now in tears. She is breaking down. She is losing it because she doesn't want to lose her father, because everyone else has abandoned her mother, her brother. She is having such abandonment issues at this point, and Viren just listens to her and it's just like, I love you. Gives her a kiss, hugs her, but I have to do this. And he leaves. And Terry, all you can do is just watch as she breaks down in this moment. Meanwhile, Icatalis, Thorin blindfolds Ophelia and leads her to the High Mage's office uh, for a secret council meeting. And she sees that first thing she sees is Bait and the new Baitlings. And she's just like, so Bait had babies. The old bait and switch.
Mm.
She was baited into believing the wrong thing
Mm.
because it's Soren.
Mm.
But instead, Ezran has Ezran has to reveal that no, we have Erebos' prison, and she immediately is like, "This is a bad idea. We should not bring this dangerous being to Catalis." Astrode here. Might come back later to haunt them.
Mm.
Foreshadowing. Ophelia is like the smartest person alive, I feel.
Mm. Yeah.
Um, but the young king is sitting like, we need to do something about this so that Erebos will never escape. And Ophelia suggests that maybe we should inform the other four kingdoms and assemble like an elite guard to protect it. Uh, Boris thinks it's safer to keep the prison hidden for the other kingdoms, which I think Boris is correct because, with the exception of Queen Anya, I don't trust the other kingdoms.
Mm. Let's save money.
My Queen Anya, she's my home girl. Okay, she's
We love her.
my girl. We love her. She a queen. She a homie. Um, and then Callan once believes they must destroy the prison due to Erebos' ability. Uh, and then Rayla, being logical about this, is like, well, how do we destroy the prison? Her being like, you don't think the elves and dragons haven't already tried that method after having it for so long and having been the only ones who built the prison in the first place? That's basically what I'm thinking she's thinking, but doesn't say that. Um, and Soren proposes the crazy idea, which shows that they are total nerds there with another Lord of the Ring reference.
Yay. That made my heart
But Soren,
happy.
right? Like, one does not simply walk into Zadia.
Mm-hmm.
But the second Lord of the Ring reference is Soren proposes to form a Fellowship of the Pearl that will take and throw the pearl into a volcano. One does not simply throw a pearl into a volcano.
Volcano. Like that.
Crazy. But Rayla is uncertain. She believes destroying the pearl frees Erebos instead of killing him. So Ezrin, looking at all these, is just like, we're just going to keep the pearl hidden and protected in Cathalis for now. Meanwhile, in the throne room, Zim is looking at Sabea's portrait, concerned, upset, as one does, worried for their mom, and Ezrin Ezrin reminds and comforts him that Zabea is the most powerful mother in the world, and he promises her that after being certain that Catalis is the safest place to hide and protect the prison, they will find her mother. So there's a cute little moment of protecting because we love Zabea's best mom.
Yes.
That's our mom.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, Callan is contemplating what to do about Erebos' prison when he starts being paranoid when he notices the star rune on the key of Erebos is glowing, but calms down when he realizes it's Stella that's making it glow because we love Stella, but she's a sneaky little bugger. You
Yes.
sneaky rascal.
You still want a Stella plushie? Give me what I
I do too.
want.
One day. One day. Hey, Dragon Prince team. Dragon
Need
Prince team.
this.
Merge team. Make us a Stella plushie. You made us bait. Make a
Mm-hmm.
Stella.
Still.
They want one. Just so you know. But During these conversations, Callum tells Rayla that he wants to take Erebus prison to the Celestial Elves um, at the Star Scraper because he believes that they have the knowledge to kill Erebus. And because he has studied star magic, um, they have it's the location of the corona. Oh, corona of the heavens,
Yep.
which holds the three. Um,
Quasar.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Quasar diamonds.
Mhm.
Words are hard
They
sometimes.
are. Especially in fantasy worlds, it is so hard.
I get so tongue tied. They're easy. But the three
Mhm.
quasar diamonds that can be used to free Runa and her parents from Biren's enchanted coins, which honestly, all three are her parents, let's be fair. But Rayla is, of course, reluctant because Rayla never wants to do anything for herself. She only thinks of her mission. That is just her. So she, on the other hand, supports Ezrin's degree, and that is currently more important than freeing her family. And Callum is concerned because Erebus might control him again. And of course, Callum is correct. Because that night, while he is sleeping, Erebus starts giving him nightmares and starts controlling him, making him sleepwalk towards Vera's secret lab. Do, 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 do. And while Sneasel starts trying to attempt to wake him up, he starts going down towards the secret lab and um, heading towards the Pearl. But during his nightmare, Callum is walking inside a familiar looking library and makes himself at home. That familiar looking library is Erebos's home. If I remember correctly, that is like it is, yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's
was
his
like, I'm pretty sure.
home. But it was like it got
Yeah,
like trapped inside the pearls. So.
yeah, I was pretty sure it was that because it was had a shattered mirror because they shattered the mirror at
Mm-hmm.
one point.
Yep.
Um, but when Sneasels realized he could not wake up Callum, he went to Rayla's chambers to try to wake her up. And the startled Rayla is about to attack Callum with her pillow. But he calms down because he ended up waking up before realizing that, oh gosh, what am I doing? Runs away. And he's like, this is bad. He realizes this whole situation is a bad thing. So
Mm-hmm.
Callum the next morning decides to go to Boris to think of a new innovative strategy. So they have a secret little meeting, talk it out, and meanwhile, Zim's having little mournful sessions during that night, crying at the moon, crying for his mom. Um, so that's going on at night.
Mm-hmm.
Um, before finally, Callum starts sewing, the next night, sewing little spell blocking runes into a blanket, which Rayla calls his safety blanket. And he gets upset that she calls it like basically a safety blanket. And he's like, no, this will stop me from being possessed by Erebos. And he wraps this, um, and Boris comes in with this pearl, which is an exact replica of the prison, which is made out of candy. And he's like, I'm going to switch it. And then no one will know that the real pearl is no longer here because I switched it and put it in this makeshift blanket that's covered in pearls and everything. And Rayla was like, well, do you want me to switch it? And he's like, no, because I got my blankie.
He's such a dork. I love him.
He's the biggest dork.
Oh, 1 second. Hey, Crow.
Hey, what's up?
We're gonna be meeting on the 26th.
On the 26th.
On the
Okay.
26th, okay? Make sure you let me know which episodes you want, okay?
Yeah, I will.
Thank you. See you then.
No problem. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Once I figure out how to close the call.
I hear you. You figured it out. Oops.
See, the magic word was he's such a dork, and then
Oh,
poof.
oh no! I'm gonna keep it in now. I was thinking to myself, like, I can edit that out in YouTube Studio, but I'm like, nah, I'm gonna keep it. Because things happen. So, yeah.
I just felt like, wait. Now we gotta ask: are they a cosplayer?
What?
Are they a cosplayer?
Yeah, they're gonna join me for season 7.
Who do
So
they cosplay as?
he usually just cosplays from like Ruby. I don't know if he's cosplayed from the Dragon Prince.
Because I was gonna say, if they cosplay from the Dragon Prince and they cosplay as Callum, that would have been so
Oh,
funny and on cue.
too coincidental. It was in the stars. Stars told.
So I just for me later, please find out if he cosplays or plans to cosplay as Callum because I need
Uh-huh.
to know if that was just right on cue and too perfect.
I will do that.
Because then that just would have been just on cue perfect.
I know. Oh my gosh.
Sorry. That
It's
just blew my
okay.
mind.
No, you're good.
But yes, so um Callum goes and switches the pearl with the decoy, and then the next morning they decide to start setting off to the Star Scraper. Meanwhile, back at the Sea of the Cast Out, Terry wakes up with Claudia looming over him. Obviously, she's losing it. And she proclaims that, everyone she's loved has um, left her. So she decides that she's going to leave Terry first to prevent him from following in the steps of her family. And he tries to sit here and just proclaim his love to her and talk sense to her, but she just leaves Terry sobbing and in her wake. And he declares he's going to wait for Claudia no matter how long it takes for her to return. I would like to call this arc Claudia Needs Therapy.
Yes.
This volume is Claudia Needs Therapy because volume 7 is Everybody Needs Therapy.
We all need it. Oh,
But like my favorite little trivia bit is that the opening sequence has Erebos actually shattering Viren because it symbolizes the Star Touch elf no longer views him as a pawn.
oh.
And afterwards, the following episodes, Erebos is holding and viewing the petrified Claudia as his new pawn. And of course, we have the beautiful Lord of the Rings reference in here.
Mm-hmm. And I'll throw in one
Oh,
more trivia as well. On TikTok for a while, that audio, which I have to say, even though Claudia's going through it, the voice actress for Claudia, stellar performance this season. Especially the line, like, you have to stay. That was actually trending on TikTok for a while. And a lot of
I
people
can
were
believe.
pointing it out. Like, like people were like, oh, like you have to stay. Like talking about like their cat or their dog leaving them. Maybe like it was something sad, like a family member and all this stuff. But Dragon Prince fandom people were like in the comments, like, you know where that's from? That's right.
My other half did point out next to me is that the other thing about Erebos is that
Mm-hmm.
it also shows that Erebos no longer had control over Viren
Mm-hmm.
because of everything and him being gone with the dark magic and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Mm-hmm.
nice. I guess that's what I get for being with someone who cosplays Viren.
Oh, really? That's
Yeah,
awesome.
they're a Viren cosplayer,
Okay.
and I'm a Rayla, so I guess
Mm,
I.
really exciting. Sounds good. So, wrapped up chapter 1, so now we're on to chapter 2, which is Love, War, and Mushrooms. And it's so funny that I got this chapter because I'm actually allergic to mushrooms. So, I can't eat them. No, it's okay. I can talk about them. Let me see. So by now the teams have split off and they're going in their separate directions. We actually see Soren flying off to Lux Aurea to pick up Corvus, and he literally picks him up by giving him a big hug. So Soren says Zim's mom is missing and that they need Corvus's help to find her since he's very, very skilled at tracking. So Corvus is your man. Let's see. Corvus and Soren head to the Storm Mountain, I forget what it's called, and try to track where Zubeia might have gone. They talk about the wound that she got at the library, yet they try to make sure that Zim can't overhear. Soren suggests using a game called Word Hands, and Corvus sighs, saying he knows what the game is. Soren says Corvus doesn't go to parties, especially since he didn't go to any of Soren's Crown Guard bonding barbecue game night extravaganzas. I'm not saying that again. It's a one and done. Corvus starts to leave the area and points up. On top, where the flat circle thing is and all that stuff, where Callum took that leap of faith in season 3. Still not over it. Corvus starts looking around and saw that somebody crashed in like some trees down below. So they fly over to the spot, but they find out that Zubeia is not there, that it's like she just simply vanished. Zim then spies a mushroom trail, and they all follow it, with Corvus praising Zim for finding the trail and telling Soren and Hat to spit out mushrooms they were trying to secretly consume. On the way over, Soren sings a song from Camp Catullus, which he finds out that Corvus led all of the songs at Camp Catullus. They arrive at the last mushroom, and they make camp for the night. Before he sleeps, Zim sends a message to King Ezrin, just saying like good night, love you, stuff like that. It's very, very cute. The group wakes up the next morning to be surrounded by a ring of mushrooms. Zim sniffs around, and one of the mushrooms like comes alive. It has like little eyes, it's moving around and stuff. But it's so, so cute. They try to talk to the mushroom person using word hands, with Soren first doing like a big scary dragon, kind of scaring the little mushroom creature, but then he does a caring mother, and the little mushroom starts to run and take off. So, surprisingly very speedy. Let's see. So they then follow the mushrooms, Soren halfway carrying a Corvus on his back due to his leg injury that he got at the library. They all arrive at an opening where a giant mushroom greets them, and he blows a sleeping potion on them all. However, before they nod off, we see a familiar face, which was the Mushroom Mage, or the guy that was singing the Mushroom Mage song at the end of season 5, yeah, around season 6. Oh gosh. Soren wakes up and sees Zim, Hat, and Corvus with mushroom caps on their head. He finds out that he has one too and starts panicking that they're all turning into mushrooms and takes off the cap, throwing it on the ground. The big mushroom comes back, and the Mushroom Mage comes from the sky. He's literally floating on his little mushroom, I'm Mary Poppins, y'all, sort of style. Saying to put it back on so the giant mushroom knows that they are friendly. Soren says fine and puts it back on, saying that he looks great in hats. So we find out the Mushroom Mage is Miko, something like that. He introduces himself in the place with a lot of mushroom puns. I was kind of rolling my eyes a little bit. I was like, okay, that's enough. Miko says that he has been treating the Dragon Queen and shows the way to go see her. The Mushroom Mage gives him a mushmallow to shrink him to go see his mother. Zim sees Zubeia, who is happy to see him too. Yet she cannot allow him to stay because even though the wound was healing, it would be a slow process. And she told him to go and that his brother Ezra needed him. And I was like, whoa, what's that about? I'm sure it means like brother, like just really good bond. Meanwhile, Meanwhile, outside, Corvus hears Soren say he is worried about Zim and how Sube was the only family he had left. Corvus plays word hands with Soren to say that Zim had Soren, who was a good guy with a big heart, which Soren hugs him after. When Zim comes back out, Corvus was trying to get Pyrrha. Zim comes back. Corvus is looking around like, where's Soren and Hat? We find out Soren took one of the marshmallows and had shrunk and was riding on top of Hat. Alright, that was all the wholesome stuff for episode 2. Now on to all the fun war stuff. Let's see. So we have Lux Aurea. Queen Jedi meets with the council and says that General Miana betrayed them by joining her brother and taking the Sun Seed. Queen Jedi says that the council hide behind masks and do not want to share their true feelings. The council say they wear the mask as the queen wears the crown, and Jedi angrily takes off her crown. She orders them to take off their mask and finds out that one of them is afraid. He answers yes, and Queen Jedi scoffs. General Maya comes over and tries to comfort Jedi, but Jedi says she doesn't understand because she is not a queen. After the meeting, Queen Jedi goes to the tree where the Sun Seed was missing and tries to burn the tree down. General Maya and Commander Gren stop her. Jedi says the future is gone, but General Maya says she can do it, but not alone. She tells a story about the king with 1,000 eyes, with how one king was betrayed by a trusted advisor, so he made all of his advisors spies, and they all turned on one another, and eventually the kingdom was chaos, and he was abandoned, and the king died alone. And then during this part 2, Kareem has the Sun Seed, and he's so amazed that something so small could be so powerful, which he plans to use the seed to heal Sol Regam's eyes. The next day, General Maya wakes up to an empty bed. She goes out and sees Queen Jedi had found a copy of the book, who said the true ending was that one person remained with the king long after the people abandoned him, but he still banished her. She says that Amaya is her heart and her truth, and if she started to doubt her, then Jedi would know that she was truly lost. Jedi approaches her camp. At the same time, Kareem is approaching his separate corners of Luxaria. So Jedi is speaking about believing in each other and that victory helped create the Sunfire Kingdom and that they can learn to trust each other. Kareem's speech is about bringing down his sister. He believes in the cause, and with Sol Regam on their side, they can then bring back old traditions and preserve them. Both the crowns cheer for their respective leaders, and later on, we see Queen Jedi talks to General Maya about dangerous times, but still wants to marry Amaya. We then get a little bit of an end scene, finally with Rayla and Callum, resting for the night as Callum rolls the cube of Erebos, I forget what it's called, the cube thing. He then will look at the shape and make a marking on a map. So we have that thing going on, and nothing from Catalyst. That was it.
We love the heartfelt stuff.
Yes. It's pretty cute. So.
Mushroom Man. Oh, he is such a goofball.
I did like his character. So that was pretty neat. I just like the Mary Poppins reference. That's all.
You know what other reference it reminds me of? Ruby.
Oh, Neapolitan. Yes, our girl.
How she comes in like that.
That's so true.
Not my tree girl.
I know. Greenlight Volume 10. Separate fandom. Anyway. Let me see. Did you have any comments about Chapter 2? Or we start Chapter 3?
It felt a little... That one felt a little more coherent just because there was it felt a little pretty strict, timeline, ooh, we're going this way and all.
Yeah.
Not a lot of going on. Which is nice. Which is nice when they're not jumping. Dragon Prince, I love Dragon Prince, but they like to do too many. Like we're gonna keep jumping from this group to this
Oh
group, and
yeah.
we're gonna
Mm-hmm.
do too much splitting the party and.
Mm-hmm. I know. It's a lot. So, and I do have my notes where I try to group everybody together and stuff. So, but yeah, it does do like the whole like, we're gonna look at Sora and then Queen to Nine and Sora and Queen to Nine stuff. So, yeah, you broke it
Or
down.
when they split an episode between like three parties and everything, and you're just
Mm-hmm.
like,
Yeah.
then it makes the episode feel so short.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
just like,
Mm-hmm. It happens.
yeah, that one felt like a good, decently played out one, and
Yes.
we love good civilization.
Mm,
So yeah, I'm good with that one.
nice. Right.
All right, season season.
Season. Well, season 3 was everybody's favorite, so.
This one felt like a whole season in waiting, I guess. I guess we'll
Mm-hmm.
go with that. Whole season in waiting. There's so long, so much built up,
Mm-hmm.
so many memes leading up to this one. Uh, episode 3, the frozen ship. How many? They even leaked, not leaked. They even had a teaser left out, like put out for this one, or they were joking so much. Like they went so hardcore for this one, marketing wise. They they knew what they were doing. They memed this episode hardcore. I see you. I see you. And I do have some thoughts about this one at the
Okay. Sounds
so,
good.
but it starts off with Callum having a nightmare about the time he used dark magic in season 5 to free himself from Finnegan's cabin by transforming his bonds into snakes. And then it changes into Rayla gasping as Erebus stands with the corrupted Callum, which seems to be an ongoing theme throughout the season or so, is this fear of him becoming Dark Callum coming back. Huh. I guess that's why in the board game there is the playable character Dark Callum.
Oh, interesting.
Like, even though we saw the tease in season 2 and all, he became an entire playable character, Dark Callum. So, circle. But Stella wakes up Callum and Sneasels from their sleep because Rayla tells them they've reached the frozen sea. So as they try to dismount the shadow paw so they can cross the landscape without bearing too much weight on the ice. Because, as we all know, when walking across frozen ice, it's like a lottery. Chances are you're going to fall through.
Yeah.
And we've seen back in season 1 where they fell through the ice because they couldn't distribute the rate. So it's a
Mm-hmm.
throwback to that season. So they were trying to um, distribute their weight so that they didn't fall through. But of course, during the crossing, the ice starts cracking, which caused the shadow paw to fall into the cold ice water. Um, and of course, because this is a poor animal, and animals don't have the rational thinking of a human. Um, it starts thrashing, and ends up causing the group supply to fall underwater, while Callum and Rayla try to bring it up. In their panic, um, the rain snap and everything. Everything gets worse and all. Rayla starts panicking to Callum and it's like telling him, like, you're a mage, do something. So, use your magic. And so Callum ends up saving the Shadow Paw and getting him out of the water. Relieved, Rayla hugs the Shadow Paw, comforting him before sending him back home to the Silver Grove so that he was no longer in danger because she was just like, no, I can't risk you anymore. Meanwhile, at the sea at the cast out, Terry is seen on a log with a couple of sticks, um, messing with them before hearing a rustling sound behind him. When he looks, he doesn't see anything, and he just continues laying out his sticks in the sand. And it's just a small little cutout, but then he just turns back around. Then back at the frozen sea, they're continuing their journey to the Starscaper when they cross black ice, um, which in that world it's smoother and slipperier than regular ice. I don't know, like it doesn't sound right in my head. Slipperier. Rayla's like, this ain't nothing, and then just slips chaotically, just like yeah. But Talon catches her before she could like fall into the snow, and that's when they have a moment. And you think you're gonna get that? They're gonna have that moment. Is Sneasels ruins it by sneezing in her face.
We still love you, Sneasels.
Even if even if you C block their moment. So they continue walking across the thing. And then it again goes back to the Sea of Castouts. And Terry is using his magic on the sticks when all of a sudden Claudia, who is so tired at this point, returns to him at last. And he catches her before she collapses on the ground. And then flips back to the other group, who are continuing across the frozen sea before they come across the frozen ship, stuck in the ice. Callum offers to search the ship, looking for supplies, but let's be fair. Are you going to send the clumsy human? Or are you going to send the nimble assassin to go look on a frozen, abandoned ship that's been there for who knows how long? That could be brittle, broken, full of broken, falling apart. We're sending the assassin. So Rayla and Stella go inside, and Callum begins to draw a picture of the ship in his sketchbook as he talks to Sneasel about the ship's inability to move, thus calling it the frozen ship. Meanwhile, Rayla and Stella explore the ship's interior before entering the captain's cabin. And Rayla ends up finding the diary of the former captain. And with some not a lot of encouraging, it doesn't take much. Stella knows how to just easily encourage her. She ends up reading the diary. And it's kind of funny how Rayla starts reading it in a male's voice, and then she's just like, wait a second. Why am I assuming the gender of this person? Goes and looks at the beginning and sees it was a female captain. And she's like, let me correct myself. Sorry for misgendering you. And then goes back and corrects the narration in a female's gender voice, which we love that. We love correcting ourselves.
And even saying sorry.
Yeah, she apologized.
The person's not even there, but still gotta say sorry. My bad.
Yeah, the person's probably dead for centuries, and she still corrected it. I was just like, yes, queen.
Well done.
Yes. So she's just sitting here reading someone's diary, invading their privacy, while supposed to be doing something else. But who cares? Fine. Caleb's fine. I'm just gonna read someone's diary. Meanwhile, back at the Sea of Casto, Terry's sitting here helping Claudia clean up, and even to the point he's literally giving her like a sponge bath and everything. So like that's self-care, like tender loving care to your partner in need.
He's too
I
good.
can't, like that kind of love and dedication. Yes. um to the point that Terry eventually finishes bathing her and starts combing her hair. And then when he starts struggling with detangling her locks, she just offers him a knife to cut her long hair. And he just kind of looks at her before almost reluctantly accepting the knife before he uses it to cut her hair into a bob. Meanwhile, back on the ship, Rayla uses a lamp as she continues to read the diary. And Stella starts hugging the weeping Rayla as she learns that the captain spent her final days regretting not being with her beloved ex-fiance. So Callum and Sneasels decides to enter the ship due to the growing cold, and upon hearing Rayla's crying, Callum is dumbfounded to discover Rayla has been reading instead of searching for supplies. And then Rayla's having to like sit here and defend herself to Callum that everything is fine before agreeing that they must spend the night inside the ship, despite its unstable nature. And then inside the cabin, Callum had planned to use like loose planks as a blanket because it was all his supplies that fell into the water, which he referred to as a planket. Then Rayla suggests to use a spell blocking blanket wrapped around Erebos' prison to keep warm. But Callum refuses to due to his fear of Erebos controlling him again. And then he, of course, declines Rayla's offer to sharing her blanket before they start stargazing together. I mean, bro, it's cold. You're in like sub-zero temperatures. Like, you need to share body heat. Stop being stubborn. Um, before he starts like opening up to her and like talking about his birth father, Damien, and a poem that he wrote before his passing. Like, I initially missed that part that they actually had that conversation about his birth father. I was like, oh. And then that there's like a ending credits sketch of his birth father. So it's just like, and Ray was listening to Callum talking about him, um, and about his life and what he like went through, like the fact he had terrible breathing sickness, and that just the love that his parents had for each other, and how much his father appreciated every living moment he had because he savored every breath and every moment. And so as they continue sharing their memories, they ended up sharing those memories with each other before falling asleep. And then later on, Rayla wakes up and sees Callum just shivering before deciding, just,
Take the
yeah,
blanket.
we're sharing. I am forcefully sharing with you. You don't have a choice. Uh, so Callum again trying to reassure he's okay, but she's like, it's not happening. Mm-mm. But meanwhile, all this, we do have our wing men, wing man and woman, man question mark on the man because I don't know if Sneasels is considered a man or woman. We're not sure there, but we do know Stella is in fact a girl. So our wing buddies behind the scenes, calling the shots, uh, they can feel the tension between their companions, and they're just like, "Got this. We've got this. I see you." So they start doing semantics to try to bring them together. So they start doing things to start making them like um, get closer. Like one wraps their arm around the other, and make them turn to face each other. And so soon they start facing. So soon they start wake up and they're facing each other and they're relishing in the closeness and they lean in for a kiss. However, Callan wakes up and pulls back, for he decides this is the moment that I'm going to reveal that I did dark magic again.
Wow.
I mean, honesty is the best policy, but
Not in this moment, not the moment we've all been craving for years.
the version ship, guys, the version ship. Meanwhile, back at the other relationship, Claudia is happy about her haircut, and Terry. This part made me so happy to see. This was like one of my happiest heartfelt moments. Terry gives her a wooden prosthetic leg he had been working on for her, and he helps her stand up after like using his wood magic to attach it and grafts it to her. And afterwards, they share a heartfelt hug and a kiss under the starry skies. Like, give me a man that will, man, a not a trans man that will sit here and make me a prosthetic leg, stand by my side after all that I've done and the travesties I've done, and make me a prosthetic leg. Like, best man.
Best boy. Can do no wrong.
The world can burn, but Terry should live throughout it, survive it all.
Exactly.
I will stand on this. I cosplay Rayla. I love Rayla to death, but Terry should survive even Rayla. I'm saying
Wow. Wow.
because you can't beat someone who makes a prosthetic leg for someone and asks for nothing in return. A man that devoted. But yes. Meanwhile, back on the ship, yeah, Callum had decided that now was the perfect time to reveal that he did dark magic. And Rayla and him are in a big argument about it. And Rayla sits here and he's like, I did it because I was trying to save you. I was trying to save everyone. And she's like, if it's to do the right thing, if he ever has to choose between her and the greater good, do the right thing. It doesn't matter if it's to save me. The right thing is the right thing. Do it for the greater good. And during this argument, Callum, of course, steps through a wooden floorboard, and it causes the entire ship to kind of collapse, and a lamp to get on fire, and they have to escape. And they realize that Erebos' prison is left behind, so Rayla has to go back into the flames to get it. And after he has to help get her out of the ship, they witness the frozen ship go up in flames. And during this moment, Callum recalls Rayla's advice about never sacrificing the greater good for one person, no matter who it is, before he promises her to kill him if Erebos ever controls him again. and Rayla begrudgingly promises Callum before they resume their journey to the Star Scraper. Meanwhile, in Katalis, Ezra's just reading a book on a stormy night when Ophelia and the guards alert him of a ranting madman on the bridge.
Mhm.
And Ezra and Ophelia walk to the bridge to find a humbled, just a man who has been broken and humbled. And it turns out it is Viren. And when Viren confesses that he did not return to beg for mercy, that he claimed to come to, he basically came to accept whatever punishments he has coming to him and all. Ezran commands the guards to arrest the former Hari mage and confiscate the relic staff. So, the big thing I wanted to point out that is big to me about this whole episode is this episode really pointed the episode title and everything else. Is that the setting of the episode title being a reference to the state of Callum and Callum and Rayla's relationship, being left in limbo and stuff.
Mhm.
It really just shows that their relationship was on break. It wasn't that they had broken up. Because if you had broken up, it would be completely different. The relationship is frozen. There's no. It being called the frozen ship means there is no update. You don't know what it is. There's nothing going on. Like, you don't know where your status is in a relationship.
Mhm. Until
If it was
you
a
talk about
broken.
it.
Exactly. They needed to talk about where their
But they
feelings
both
are.
suck at talking, so couples therapy for them.
Yes. Exactly. 100% is what needed to happen. Oh, and apparently another trivia is as the ship burns and sinks to the bottom of the frozen sea, the flames damaging its nameplate until it only shows Rayla. It's apparently
Oh.
an Easter egg that was shown. But everyone kept saying they broke up, they broke up. They never broke up. When you break up, you officially say, we end this thing. There's an ending. There is such thing as ghosting, yes, but they never. In Rayla's note, she left him. Nothing in that note said, "I am ending things with you." Their relationship was more, if anything, on break, and they need to talk things out. They don't know where they stand with each other, but it doesn't mean they're not in a kind of relationship that they don't know where they stand with each other. Which, in a therapist kind of like mindset, like, yes, you guys need to talk it out. You need to sit down and talk out where you want to go from here, if you still want to be together or not.
I
As
feel like,
adults, this is what you need.
Feel like, all right, Rayla, you talk for 10 minutes. Callum, reflect. What did you hear Rayla say? Callum, talk for 10 minutes. Reflect. Okay, what was the common theme for both of you? See, couples therapy. That's what I do.
100%.
Yeah, they all need therapy, but them especially need couples therapy. So, no, take that back. Soren, Claudia, Viren, and Viren's wife all need family therapy.
100%. 100%. Yes. But that one, Viren and Viren's wife do not need to be in the same room together.
No, you could do it separate. Like Viren and Viren and the kids. You know, the wife and the kids together and stuff. So
Yeah. Just because of how that situation ended, how he turned around and did what he did to get
we're
the
gonna get to that.
wife.
We're gonna get to that. It's a later episode.
Oh no! That happened in he did that season 5 or something. He did that earlier. I
Mhm.
think. I don't remember.
Mhm.
That one point. I'm getting my things mixed up. I remember it at some point.
It was at some point. There you go. Some point. It happens. It happens. So, to keep the pearl ball rolling, so to speak, I know it's covered in a blanket right now, but in that blanket, we're going to go and move on to chapter 4, which again is the Star Scraper. So, Rayla and Callum, along with Sneasels and Stella, and the Pearl, of course, they arrive at the Star Scraper, which, side note, was beautifully designed. Loved it. Callum is impressed by the tower, saying there was a gleam about it. Callum goes inside while Rayla is hesitant about how these celestial elves would react and how to get up. Callum says that the area smells like bread and feels warm and tingly. Sneasel sneezes some snow away, alliteration, yay, and Callum sees draconic words, so of course he reads them out loud. However, the platform starts to tilt upwards. He struggles on one side as he starts to go up, with the remaining ice falling off. Rayla goes in after him and climbs on with his help. Rayla realizes that one side is glowing and that Callum needed to read the other side to help it go up too. Callum reads the words and the other side tilts up, causing the platform to easily balance. The two ride up in the middle of the Star Scraper, where it stops in the area with celestial elves inside. They are greeted by the Elder, who asks if they are the Chosen Two. Callum says that they are two and introduces themselves, but the Elder says the word drop, and after a brief moment, the platform is sent back down to the bottom at a high speed. Callum notices a draconic word at the center and says it out loud. The platform stops falling fast, but Rayla notices the pearl start to slip out of the blanket. Stella goes after the pearl, and Rayla cries out for her as Stella falls down with the pearl. However, at this point, two celestial elves fly by, with one of them grabbing the pearl and Stella, and meets Rayla and Callum at the bottom. Rayla goes to hug Stella, while Callum gets the pearl. They are welcomed to the Star Scraper, and we are introduced to Astrid and Cosmo, sister and brother duo. Callum is a bit angry about being dropped by the Elder, but Rayla says that they need help. But Cosmo says the Elder will only see the Chosen Two, so they can still stay for the night. Cosmo, Astrid, and Callum fly up the Star Scraper while Rayla takes the platform. They go to the Star Looms, where the spiders there can make tapestry of heavens and how they can create like wings. They can have like little bracelets of wings, blindfolds, and hammocks that they would be sleeping on. Callum asks why did the celestial elves wear the blindfolds, and Astrid explains that no sunlight or moonlight can enter their eyes. And Cosmo says that they can take the blindfolds off on a clear, moonless night, so only pure starlight can touch eyes. This is also when we learn about Time Blind, which is an enlightenment that is a gained ability to see others past, present, and future. It's been a while since they removed the blindfolds due to ice storms. In fact, centuries since Luna Tenebris, who is the moon dragon. Rayla uses empathy, saying like, "Oh, that's really sad and everything." And she goes over to Cosmo. Cosmo grabs her hand and states that she has 4 fingers. Astrid goes over and is pleased to find Callum's 5 fingers and greasy hair. They excitedly ask if they are the warrior and the mage. In a way, Callum is the mage and Rayla is the warrior. Rayla says, "Sure, why not?" They then go back to the Elder, who asks if they are ready. He said to the heaven of the people. I don't know what that means. But he's just like, "Okay, are you sure you're the Chosen Two?" They're like, "Sure, we're the Chosen Two." And he's like, "Okay, then you have a job to do." But before then, Callum makes a deal about them stopping Erebos and how they need the Nova Blade. Yet the Nova Blade is not there at the Star Scraper Tower, that it was given to a brave human girl, and it is impossible to stop one of the Great Ones. The Elder explains that when the stars align in the night sky, So whenever the Star Touch elves like stars align and stuff like that, like kind of like what are they called? Constellations. There we go. Words. Constellations line. Then they are able to come down and walk on the earth. The Nova Blade can stop the mortal being, but the immortal one goes back to the heavens and waits to realign again. Rilo says that is why the dragons imprisoned him forever, so that's why he's in the pearl. Callum feels defeated and saying that there's no way to stop Erebos and that they came all this way for nothing. Astrid and Cosmo say not for nothing and show them where a raging, angry ice behemoth was there causing the storm in hopes that Rayla and Callum would fulfill the prophecy to pierce the heart of stone, melt it away so that way the storms would stop. Meanwhile, Claudia watches a leaf lynx cub playing with a butterfly where she is tempted to use it for dark magic, such as wanting to use different parts for different dark magic spells. But she still thinks the cub is cute, which agreed, cub was very cute. Claudia reflects on her father's behaviors and she wonders if she should walk down a different path and says Erebos helped them and she promised to help free him and wonders if she should stop magic. She asks Terry to tell her what to do. Terry says he can't and only Claudia can see her own deep truth, but she won't be alone, that he will be by her side. So this man is a therapist, do not change my mind. And she says she needs to go see her dad again, because when she sees her dad and talks to him, then she'll know her answer. So Terry agrees and goes off to pack their stuff so that way they can journey to Katalis. Claudia plays with the Leaf Lynx cub, but the mother of the cub arrives, and Claudia is caught between not using dark magic or using dark magic to defend herself. Terry arrives and entraps the mama in like a vine cage and uses lavender to calm the mama leaf lynx down. While the leaf lynx mama and cub leave, Claudia says she needs to see her dad. Also in this episode, we have Kareem, Niana, and the other guy, the priest guy, approach Sol Regum. Sol Regum gives his depressed old man dragon speech. It is the depressed dragon. Kareem presents Sol Regum with the sun seed. Sol Regum says no to curing his eyes, but his wings instead, so he can soar the sky once more. Also, Soren and all the rest of them, Cordis, Hat, and Zim, return back to Katalis. Soren is happy to see them all. However, King Ezrin delivers the news that his father, Viren, is back. Soren appears confused, but then understands. And that's pretty much it.
I do agree with your point that Terry is best therapist. That is practically his job, and they should just make him
a therapist, whatever that title is, licensed
I
therapist.
feel like they're just needed at this point.
Yep, pretty much.
Because come on, someone needs to be.
Yeah, it's like that in therapy. People will be like, "Tell me what to do," and it's like, I can't tell you what to do. You know, down deep what you need to do. It's gonna take some time to figure out. So, good.
And then plus the cub was the cutest thing ever.
Yes, another plushie, please and thank you.
They need to make so many plushies. Like there's that. There's the little burr things.
Yes, as like a squishmallow or something, just like an adorable.
Yeah, or just like little things that'll stick on your clothing. Because I would like that too.
Yes. So cute.
Dragon Prince crew, please get on that.
I'm
begging. Those are some of my like favorite things. Like the creatures they come up with, the minds behind them. I want to like dig inside. What are they thinking? Those are just that's some of the stuff I'm thinking. Um, but yeah, those are the bit the comments I had to make because just yes, yes.
Would be nice. Okay. Oh, that's like a season 7 spoiler. I'll go over that next. So sorry, my voice. Yeah, good.
Always come back to us.
I know. Don't leave me. Don't go. You have to
Me,
stay.
me going through my tabs like, come back to me, tab.
Uh-oh.
All right. So episode 5 is called The Moonless Night. And so this time I'm just I'm gonna follow your path and start
Okay.
with the Catalyst gang. Because they do a lot less stuff than Rayla and Callan gang does. But uh in Catalyst, Ezrin actually gets a invite to Anaya and Janai's wedding. So he's sitting in his chambers at night, and he's just looking at the invitation when suddenly Soren enters in, and he reveals that while Ezra reveals while he's excited about the wedding, he's anxious about leaving Katalis, while Callum has yet to return from the skyscraper, and Zabea has not fully, he's very anxious about all the situations going on. Zabea's not recovered from her infection. Viren's imprisoned in his dungeon. Like our poor little boy who is 12 at this point, I want to say.
Remember, sorry.
Oh, let's see.
Quick Google search.
Yeah, quick Google search. Ezrin. Ezrin is 12. Yeah, he's 12
Oh,
at this point. Our young king is only 12 years old at this point. He's got a lot of pressure. He's got a lot of weight on those shoulders for a young king. So he's very troubled. But Sora encourages him to not worry about Varen because he's going to handle things with that, of course, and just have fun at the wedding and give Amaya a friendly punch on the arm for him. Ezrin promises to give Amaya both a friendly punch on the arm and a hug before embracing Soren. And then Soren and Ezrin exchange goodnights as Soren leaves and prepares to confront his father. Meanwhile, inside the dungeon, a fly is trapped in the spider web as Viren is chained to the floor and sulking inside a cell. But he gets excited when he sees Soren arriving with his dinner. Um, Viren tries to confess how much he's changed after everything he's gone through, but Soren chooses to ignore him, which he has every right to do because everything his father put him through, how much he's ignored him, how much he literally wanted Claudia to choose the egg over Soren. Like, he has not shown that he cared about his son at all. He has abandoned him for so long. He has every right to have cut off his father. And that's on cutting off toxic influences.
We stand our king son.
We stand setting boundaries with toxic family members, healthy relationships, 2025 goals. Let that be your goal if you have that situation going on in your life. Set healthy boundaries with your family members. Another thing the Dragon Prince shows. Don't let them manipulate you. And again, it goes back again. Viren goes to sleep and he wakes up to find Soren delivering another meal to him. And he thanks Soren before asking him why he keeps coming back. Since, he could have asked anyone to deliver his meal. And that he did not have to come down to the dungeon. And if he did, uh, if he did not actually wish to talk to his father. And Soren claims that he wants to see Viren suffer.
Mm.
Um, Viren confesses that he was cold to him during the reunion in the Drakewood because no father should be cruel to their children. And he knows that he is to blame for setting Claudia down the dark path he did. Um, but he reveals he found a new path before saying how proud he is of seeing Soren become the person he is, the strong person he is, and being true to his heart. But Soren does not believe his words and is angry and tells him he will not be manipulated again before slamming his fist into the bars and storming off and trying to regain his composure, leaving Varen to just sink to his knees, realizing, what he has done, how broken this relationship has become. Um, Again, later on, you see Varen sitting in his cell when he hears someone entering the dungeon. And first off, he believes it's Soren, and he wishes to apologize to him, only to find out and be upset that it's someone else delivering his meal. And then again later, you find him waking from his sleep to find Soren sitting next to his cell. And he explains he does not expect forgiveness, and he knows he does not deserve any kind of redemption or mercy. He says that the pain he caused was never Soren's fault. And as a tearful Soren leaves, Varen tells him he wants him to have his words in the future when he might need them. And finally, the last thing we see from Viren is he wakes up after a dream about Erebos before fiercely telling the Star Touch elf that he is no longer afraid and will never be used again as the spider approaches the fly trapped in the web. That's where you end with Viren, Viren's saga and the whole group in Katalis. Meanwhile, with our crew at the Star Scraper, the ice behemoth that they believe is continuing to wander in the frozen north, causing a massive blizzard. And Astrid and who is my favorite, I love her so much. She's such a queen, love her. Astrid and Cosmo bring our crew up north, Rayla, Callum, Stella, Sneasels, to their sleeping quarters within the Star Scraper. Rayla and Callum decline Astrid and Cosmo's offer of needing anything else before Rayla asks Callum, um, are we going to sneak out soon or in the morning? But Callum reminds Rayla of the prophecy of the chosen two that the elder told them, which will result in the heavens adorning them if they fulfill it. Rayla tells Callum that they are not the chosen two, but Callum believes they can pierce the behemoth's heart and melt the threat forever. And so then then we return back to them, and Callum tells Rayla they can in fact defeat the monster that has been terrorizing the celestial elves for generations and return the moonless nights. Rayla tells Callum they keep calling the ice behemoth a monster even though they know nothing about the creature. And she goes on about him being the last person she would ever expect to buy into some prophecy before reminding him of his belief on destiny being a book a person must write themselves. And then Callum responds by saying they can use a spell he used to counter Finnegan's frozen blood technique to melt the ice behemoth. And he uses it on some icicles inside the sleeping quarters, but nothing happens, which frustrates Callum into slamming his book against the sleeping quarters desk, causing the icicles to fall, which scares poor Stella. And Rayla ends up calming Stella down, revealing her plans of going to bed so they can return to Katalis in the morning. She ends up cuddling the poor cuddle monkey and sings a lullaby to Stella as Callum reconsiders his plan, which is the first time we ever see Rayla sing. Canonly, apparently, we find out Rayla can sing. So Rayla is sleeping um, her night away as with the animal companions as Callum drags in a giant block of ice into the sleeping quarters. And Callum explains that his spell is to melt actual ice. The spell rune must be carved into the ice, which fits the words of the prophecy. And he takes one of Rayla's blades to carve the rune into the ice block before casting the spell. Which part of me is just like, Callum, did you not learn last time you tried to play with her swords that that's not a good idea? But uh, but he does, which succeeds in melting it. Callum reveals his plan to have Rayla carve the rune into the ice behemoth's heart before he can destroy the beast by casting the spell, fulfilling the role of the warrior and the mage. Rayla reluctantly agrees to help Callum in slaying the ice behemoth. So later on, they head to the journey in the blizzard to confront the ice behemoth. Callum believes the glowing light on the beast's chest um, believes that the light on the behemoth's chest and tells Rayla to climb towards it so she can carve the rune. Um, and she uses her butterfly knives to climb towards the creature's chest. Callum then casts one of his spells to protect Rayla from falling ice. As Rayla leaps into the ice behemoth's chest and prepares to carve the rune, Rayla realizes the glowing light from his chest is actually a cracked collar pendant and recognizes the creature's identity. The ice behemoth shakes Rayla off, and Callum starts to fall, casting another spell to do so. When Callum asks Rayla why she did not carve the rune, she reveals the ice behemoth is a pet instead of a threat. She reveals to Callum that the ice behemoth is not a rampaging monster, but rather a sad, lonely pet that misses his master. He does not believe her words, but she knows that the beast is not dangerous and asks him to trust her. So Callum and Stella then witness Rayla walk towards the ice behemoth and slowly pacifies it with the lullaby she sang earlier. The creature slowly calms down, listening to Rayla's lullaby, with his eyes turning from pink to yellow, and the blizzard dies down. That is when we all realize that the creature is actually the beloved, loyal companion of Luna Timberius?
Tenebris.
Tenebris.
Yeah.
Those words get me sometimes.
I know.
The arch-dragon of the moon and the former queen of dragons, which we talked about earlier, that our theory is she is not the former mate of Solrigus. She would be too good for him. She is she's a queen and just would be too good for him. But I do want a story of what happened to her. Just a side note. But this is the beloved companion, Esmeralda. I believe that's correct.
Yes, you got it.
Esmeralda. And poor Esmeralda has been grieving Luna's death for centuries and created blizzards during moonless nights. And because of the moon's absence, reminded her of the day of her master's passing. Rayla takes from Stella a moon opal she had collected from Umbra Toro, and Rayla understands that Esma is feeling what Esma is feeling because she has lost loved ones as well. But she also knows that her loved ones have truly never left her. She then places the moon opal into Esmeralda's cracked pendant, which helps the latter in clearing the skies. Rayla soothes Esmeralda by telling her that Luna is still with her even when the moon is not in the sky. She then kisses her nose as the latter departs peacefully. Callum praises Rayla for fulfilling the prophecy, for it is her kindness piercing her heart and melting the threat. Callum, Rayla, and Stella enter the skyscraper where the celestial elves thank them for giving the stars back. As promised, the celestial elves adorn Callum and Rayla with the heavens by granting them the corona of the heavens, which houses the three Krazer diamonds needed to free Rayla's family from Viren's enchanted coins. That is the moment Rayla realizes that Callum knew the whole time what they were going to offer. And he also knew that she would never do something for herself. And so Rayla hugs Callum, thanking him, before the celestial elves ascend into the zenith to witness the moonlit night. The elder says that he was only a child when he last beheld the heavens, and allowed the celestial elves to remove their blindfolds to witness the stars after the zenith ceiling opens. Astrith and Cosmos embrace as they view each other for the first time, and Cosmos becomes time blind when the stars touch his eyes. Um, Cosmo prays Astrid and Rayla's true selves, but faints upon seeing dark magic within Callum. So, inside their sleeping quarters, Callum listens to Rayla telling her queen parents that she never forgot about them and prepares to keep her sacred promise. As Rayla tells her family to wait a little bit longer, the solemn Callum heads to the Star Scraper with Erebos prison. Callum places the prism on one of the steps, gazing at it as he remembers Cosmo's reaction. So we have depressed emo Callum moments. And apparently, there was a bit of trivia that the creators posted clues to this episode title on Twitter with pictures of a starry night sky and director M. Night Shyamalan.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, I forgot they did that like beforehand. They dropped like little hints about like the episode titles and stuff. So I know one of them was like a Taylor Swift song or something. So I think it was.
Someone's confirmed a Swifty.
I know. I thought it was cute as you were talking about like Luna Tenebris's pet Esmeralda and stuff that your cat joined. Your cat
He's
also
like,
joined.
I'm doing my part.
Yep. I thought it was pretty good. But yeah, overall, I did enjoy this episode. I liked Little Rayla's song. Like, I remember, I think whenever I was still on Twitter for a little bit, I left Twitter for personal reasons, but somebody posted, like, imagine if, like, Callum and Rayla had kids, and she's, like, singing to the kids as he's working, and I'm like, no. That's so
Like,
cute. But
guys, why are you gonna break our hearts like
why?
this?
I'll put it in my wedding fanfic later, so y'all can have it. Let me see. Yeah, Soren's breakdown I had was just like really emotional. The voice actors
Oh
did
god.
phenomenal this season, but it was like you just hear the pain and the anguish that had been stored up inside for all those years just coming out. So
Soren's gone through it.
poor me.
Like, I just feel for him more than
Mhm.
anyone else, because to be the child that basically was the black sheep of the family, abandoned, and then him suddenly coming back, and you just basically thinking, am I a joke to you? Like, do you think I'm a joke and I'm going, like, I'm not gonna follow this.
Mm.
Like,
Definitely a lot. So,
toxic family.
mm-hmm.
Set your boundaries.
Yep.
Do the healthy thing.
Mm-hmm.
I just
You feel for him so much.
this best boy. Another
Miko.
one of those
Oh,
best
God.
boy situations.
It's like I haven't done. I don't know if you know like those character tier list and stuff. I'm sure there's one for like the Dragon Prince where you can like rank them like S, A, B, C, D, and F and stuff. Everybody would be like A and up and stuff except for Viren and Kareen. They would be at the bottom. We don't have
Okay, to be fair, I don't think I would put
that.
Viren that far down.
Yeah.
Because of his the reasoning he originally did all this
Mhm.
was to save Soren. The whole reason he went
Yeah.
down black magic was for Soren because he would have died if he didn't.
Mhm.
But and then he had his redemption arc.
Mhm.
Um Kareem, no, there's no saving
Mhm.
him.
Yeah.
F that guy all the way.
Yeah.
Um Erebus,
That one's morally
I
gray
don't
for
know.
me.
He he has to get like him and that's why I say him and Viren are those morally great characters.
Yeah.
When you look into everything they've done and the reasons behind it, they both did it for the same reasons. At
Mm.
the end of the day,
End of the day. Mm.
because Viren never would have went down the path of dark magic if Soren wasn't in such a life-threatening situation.
Mhm. Makes sense.
Because
Okay, you can convince me. I'll put him up a tier higher. So there you go.
that
Let's
would
do
be a good video idea at some point.
it.
Rate your Dragon Prince characters, and they just be
Mm-hmm.
a debate video with like a
Yeah.
couple people being together, and it just be like change my mind
Oh
video tier
gosh.
list, and
That'd
everyone
be.
be together in a video, and you all have
Mm-hmm.
your tier list, and it'd be like,
Yeah.
okay, here's my tier list. Try to change my mind.
That would be fun. I still want to do a Dragon Prince character interview video because we do them here on Demon Interviews and stuff. So still
That
want to
would
do
be so much fun.
that. I know.
I love that.
So much fun. Let's
Eh,
see. Hmm.
maybe I can get you a Viren.
I know
With
when you said that earlier, I was like, the pieces are falling together.
me looking off into the distance.
Oh gosh, another time because we got another episode to
Yeah.
cover. Surprisingly
Yes, we do.
quick, yay! So back to you, my friend.
Like, I was pretty sure I knew the name of it, but I wanted to look for just in case I forgot. Okay, episode 6 is called Moment of Truth. So we're gonna go back. We're gonna go back again to the Viren side of things because it's always fun to start with him, our morally gray character. So again, in Catullus, Viren starts off with writing a letter to confess his failures of a father to Soren. Uh, and I see now why you were saying what you were saying earlier, because I was mixing up when this flashback happened.
Okay. Yeah, it's okay.
But I did find out part of this was actually in the first book, too. It does not at this. The first. I didn't know this. I looked that up later. But he remarks in how he fell in love with his wife, Lisa, um, that she is from Del Bar, and how she became his wife and the mother to both his children, but how Soren was born a sick child struggling to breathe and would cough and wheeze every day, and how they both his both Soren's parents saw doctors, herbalists, tried unusual cures, but nothing worked. And they would spend hours staying up late close to Soren, praying that their son would live. Desperate to save Soren's life, Viren chose dark magic and asked his former mentor, Capard, to hand the relic staff so he can cast a spell that would cure his son's illness. Capard, on the other hand, was not moved by Viren's pleas, but he refused to give the staff due to the danger dark magic possessed. Uh, Viren continued writing this letter recounting his experience of bonding with his best friend, Prince Harold, who was struggling to propose to um, Sarai. Harold actually explained to Viren um, that it had only been 1 year since Damien passed away. And he was worried that it would complicate her life as a single mother to Callum by wanting to marry her so quickly, which we appreciate a father figure that is that mindful to their stepson for literally thinking of the children that you would be bringing in and adopting and how you would be shaking up their lives. These complicated issues that they are putting out there.
Well done.
Well done. Could have said that better myself than just simply that. But Viren um, advised Howard that what he must, um, that life is complicated, but nothing else matters if it is love. And Howard commands Viren for such advice that, like, he commends him for it. He was like, he thanks him for this advice and it inspires him to take action. Um, Viren also reveals that he actually entered the puzzle house during a dark and stormy night to confront Capard and to take the relic staff. Capard warned Viren that he would lose everything if he chose dark magic, which prompted Viren to trap his mentor in an enchanted coin.
Coin, not coin. That would be
Coin. Coin. Two different things. Both
very
yellow
different.
gold color. Very different.
I just picture Soren, like there's just like a big basket of corn. He's like, oh, I'm gonna like cook this and eat it. And then Viren's like, where's the one piece of corn? Soren's like, I
Right.
ate it. He's like, oh no.
Knowing Viren. And it's just one letter off, too. That's the funny part. But Viren knows at the end of the day, Capard is correct when warning him that dark magic has caused him to lose everything. Viren confessed in the letter that the ingredients he needed to cast the dark spell that would restore Soren's health is the relic staff, a blood from a wind elk's antlers, and Lisa's tears. And when Viren returned home, his corrupted face horrified Lisa, who told him that he had become a monster, and she refused to use her tears for the dark magic spell. He pushed her against the wall and held back her hair to keep her still, allowing him to press a vial to her cheek, and it filled with her tears. She slid to the floor sobbing when Viren released her. He knows she was right about him becoming a monster. Viren continued writing in his letter about the spell working and curing Soren, turning him into a strong, healthy, and strapping boy. However, Lisa chose to return to Del Par, leaving the family behind in Catullus. Lisa's departure destroyed Claudia, causing Viren to blame Soren for what happened. Viren tearfully apologized for wrongly punishing his son for a lifetime of cold cruelty. Soren ends up returning to Viren's cell and asks his father what he wants to give him after the guard informs him of such a request. Viren, about to give his letter to his son, soon realizes in doing so, he would be shifting his burden to his son, who will need all his strength. So instead, Viren lies about the guard having misheard his words, and Soren leaves with the guards as Viren uses a candle to burn the letter. Domestic abuse, anyone?
No. Me.
So we find out the truth behind why Lisa left and why Viren mistreated Soren for so many years. Ouch.
In the heart.
But meanwhile, the Starscraper crew, Rayla and the animal companions wake up from their sleep um, and spot Callum is just seated by the window with a worried look on his face. Callum reveals that he slept for maybe an hour before waking up being anxious. And she tries to cheer him up just by going, hey, why don't you put the corona of the heavens on? Which holds, the only quasar diamonds in all of Zeta. And Callum says that, your heart isn't full of darkness. And she says that, hey, he's a good person with no darkness at all. And he's just like, they failed to destroy Erebos' prison. They've taken it all across the world, and it's for nothing. Like, what was the point of our journey? And she tries to give him hope by like, yeah, we did that. But we took it away from anyone trying to free him at the same time. So look what we managed to do. But at the same time, Cosmo has a vision of destroying Callum's spirit, of him revealing that Callum messed up and did not switch the prison and happened to accidentally take the decoy prison with them instead of the real thing. Um, the vision ends up having Ash, and he ends up telling Callum this, and it ends up destroying Callum and everything. And Astrid ends up scolding her brother, saying that, hey, sometimes you have to think about how you what you tell someone, because it might not be what that person needs to hear in that moment. Because if you tell someone that, depending on their mental state, it can destroy them. You need to think of what you're doing and how to approach the situation. Another great life lesson. I always love when those things come up. So, to prevent this bleak and awful future of Callum just being a very depressed person and mentally destroyed, Cosmo lies to Callum's group about the fact he brought the fake prison and instead tells them the truth is complicated. Because it is a fact, the truth is complicated. It's always is. The elder put also adds that, we'll keep the prison here in the Star Scraper. You know, that, we'll keep it safe. It's hard for people to get up here, we'll keep it safe. So they also reveal that Callum that using dark magic creates a corrupted emptiness inside his soul, which is how Erebus controls him. However, there's a Star of Truth ritual that can help fill the darkness with light again, though it's dangerous and will require all of Callum's courage and strength. Sensing hope, Callum agrees to perform the ritual. Cosmo decides to guide Callum's group to the Zenith, and he tells him that while the ritual will fill the dark magic created with light again, he also warns him to never use dark magic again, or this darkness and corruption will overwhelm him. Callum, understanding the risk, um, they arrive at the Zenith, and Cosmo informs Callum that he must drink a Star Reaver spider venom. You could not pay me enough money in the world to do that. This venom makes his spirit sensitive to starlight. Callum then must fly to the heavens because the magic is the strongest closer he is to the stars. At that moment, Callum must search his mind and heart for the star within him. The, the deepest truth will shine to fill the darkness. Astrid then joins the group with a female Star Reaver spider inside a jar. Unfortunately, she had trouble getting the venom. Though she managed to put the spider in such a bad mood that they could get the spider venom the old fashioned way. That the spider will just bite him. They open the ceiling, and the spider bites Callum, and Callum's eyes begin to glow white as Astrid blindfolds him and invites him to look inward. Cosmo encourages Callum to fly to the stars to find the star within him, the one deep truth so bright it can fill the darkness. And Callum soars to the heavens after casting his flying spell to gain his wings. He tries to find the star within him before his mage ring dissipate and he plummets back. Callum starts to fall from the sky before smiling upon seeing a constellation taking the shape of a hand. At that moment, he regains his magic mage wings and he flies to the constellation as it takes the form of our one and only elfie friend we all know and love, that he needs more than anything else, Rayla. Callum embraces the constellation as a white light engulfs him. Our Rayla and our animal companions, Astrid and Cosmos, waits below before witnessing Callum return to them. Callum says that he has found his one truth before Rayla, Stella, and the animal companions embrace him. Back at the Star Scraper, Cosmo confesses to Astrid about lying about the decoy prison. And when Astrid asks Cosmo why did he not tell the truth, he repeats her words in this vision about the truth being everything. One must ask before giving it to another whether they are giving clarity, light, and purpose, or shifting a burden to someone who needed all their strength. Which, honestly, I think those words are a very important thing to remember for people going through things. And then that night, Rayla sleeping with the animal companions before finding Callum laying awake on his hammock. He asks her whether she ever thought about moments in her life and wonders how things might have differed if she just changed one thing. Rayla agrees and asks him about the specific moment he is thinking about. And he, of course, reveals the moment she came back after not seeing him for 2 years. Rayla again begins apologizing to Callum for that moment before getting flooded by so many feelings. They agree to reenact the reunion by having Rayla leave for a few seconds before walking in on Callum as they pretend that it has been 2 years. Stella and Sneasels wake up and celebrate as Callum and Rayla rekindle their romance by sharing a passionate kiss and reclaiming their love for each other. And that is where their section ends.
We're back, baby.
And that is where they officially have reconnected.
These things.
And
Oh
we get
my
the
gosh.
that episode is definitely where you find out they are a Swifty.
Mm-hmm. Oh, is that the Swifty one?
That's the Swifty one.
Ah, there you go.
In particular is thank you, Amy.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Sounds good. And so this episode is definitely one of my favorites. There's reasons why, because Raylan and all that. So I put Stella slapping sleeping Sneasels. I'm just full of alliteration today. So, but yeah, the kiss that happened, I was squealing. But where I was squealing, I'm gonna tell like my little story at the end of like what happened when this came out and stuff. But yeah, it was so good. I was so happy to see that. So the music, the build up, I was like, oh my gosh.
Dragon Prince always
Yeah.
has good music. Like they know what they're doing.
So season 6 and 7 soundtracks are out. I just checked on Spotify and they're out, so I'm gonna support it. Yeah, the other thing I want to mention too is like that whole like the scenes like changing and like being like black, white, grayish and stuff. I was pretty confused at first at what was going on. I was like, did my like internet crap out or something? I was like, what is going on? But then later on it gets revealed. I was like, oh okay. So yeah.
We're having flashback sequences. We're having like
Mm-hmm.
inner monologue flashback sequences.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of like that we're doing a different kind of storytelling. It's
Mm-hmm.
it's a storytelling done in a different way inside the series. And I like that it's kind of done that way to give you a sense that it's something that's not happening in the present, but we're getting backstory.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I did like it. I was a little bit confused at first, like I said, but then it all came together and stuff, and I was like, okay, makes sense now. So, who knows? Claudia. And the other thing
It
too
started
that,
something.
uh-oh. And the other thing too was we got to see the inside of the puzzle house. For folks that might not know, the Dragon Prince has a series of like graphic novels, which they had the puzzle house come out, I believe, a year or two ago. I did a review. Gonna shamelessly plug in my own channels here, but JenMouse45 has a review on Puzzle House and stuff. So yeah, there's all. You got it too. And Nightmare's Dreamer. I just covered that one. Nice.
It's like I had them on hand somewhere.
Right behind you. Mine are upstairs. All nice and cozy. Yeah, but I was pretty excited to see the inside of the puzzle house and stuff, so.
Man, that was so good.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Let me see. That was all the commentary I had for this one. Was just excited for the kiss, excited for Puzzle House. Was a little bit confused, but then got on board with all the grayish stuff. So let's see. So we're gonna move into the next chapter, which is chapter 7, the Red Wedding. This is not a Game of Thrones. It's a Game of Thrones reference, but it's not the Game of Thrones episode. So
Made me worry seeing that
it
immediately.
did. I was like, oh, what? And I'm like, who's getting married? I was like, oh, yeah,
I think that was a red flag for everyone seeing that who knows like Game of Thrones at all and knowing the Red Wedding name from Game of Thrones probably had PTSD.
Mm-hmm. myself included. So, yes, so let's see. So we open up to a very lovely scene of Rayla and Callum sharing kisses in the sunrise. Very romance, very cutesy, very demure. But they say that they need to head to Moon Nexus, so they're going to save more kisses for later. Rayla was given a set of bracelets to help her fly. She then activates it, gets the hang of flying, and together her and Callum and Stellan Sneasels head over to the Moon Nexus. Let's see, over at the Sunfire Kingdom, which most of this episode took place, we see Kareem readies his army for an attack. He gives Sol Regum the Sun Seed and is able to heal his wings. Meanwhile, Queen Janai and Amaya start their wedding ceremony, so they're all ready for the wedding day, where they decide to have two traditions, one of the Sunfire Elves and the other from the human realm. Ezrin and Anya talk about wedding cake, which Bait is excited about. He loves wedding cake. They start with the Sunfire traditions, with Kazi leading the blessing of the sun. However, at one point in the ceremony, the sun is blocked by the clouds, and they all have to wait until the clouds part to reveal the sun, so the sun can give the blessing, which Bait does not wait to eat all of the wedding desserts and take a nap. It's okay, buddy, we forgive you. Ezrin and Anya talk about their kingdoms. It's a little bit awkward between the two of them, but Ezrin's rumbling stomach breaks the ice as they all thought it was Bait making that noise. Kazi and Gren are standing around talking about the clouds parting, only to reveal more clouds, which Kazi remarks was strangely poetic. Janai says that they are moving forward with the ceremony, and Kazi is worried about the clouds, to which General Maya said just because the sun was hiding behind the clouds doesn't mean the sun was not shining, which Kazi deems as truly poetic. The ceremony continues with the two giving each other necklaces as gifts. Gren then has a turn, who is crying. Poor man. He's just crying and everything. But before he delivers the ceremony speech, a guard comes in saying they are under attack from Kareem. Kareem said they might be outnumbered, but they are outmatched as Sol Regum is flying with the priest on his back, but we still see the mark glowing black and purple. Meanwhile, Luxari at the wedding, Amaya says that they will do one last battle. Oh no, wait, Janai says they're going to do one last battle, and Ezrin wants a day of love and suggests that he goes and talks to Kareem while the others finish the wedding, even though Janai is against it at first because love and trust won't solve everything. Amaya stops her and says it did for us. Janai agrees, but after the wedding ceremony, they would go to battle against Kareem. So Ezrin, Corvus, and Queen Anya approach Kareem's camp, with Queen Anya climbing a rock and taking position with her weapon. Ezrin goes and talks to Kareem, which he said he never negotiated with a child. Corvus corrects him and says that he is a king, and Kareem scoffs, saying Ezrin is a human child. This kind of also flashback to like Zubeia talking to Domina Profundus, and she's like, "Oh, that's a child," and Zubeia is like, "No, that's a king," and stuff. So that's what I got. Kareem says he has terms and won't go to battle if they are met, which is for Janai to surrender unconditionally and acknowledge Kareem as the High King of the Sunfire Empire, and that humans would return to the human realm. Meanwhile, Gren delivers the rest of the ceremony speech, and Queen Amaya and Queen Janai are now officially married. So, yeah. Oh wait, they also give their vows too, and yeah, I was sobbing during that whole part. That's probably why I don't remember, because I cry every single time. It's so beautiful. But yeah, they share their vows, they finish the ceremony, they kiss, they're now both queens. I mean, we knew that Amaya was a queen already, but this just makes it more official, so. Right, so, however, Ezrin is still trying to reason with Kareem, yet Corvus senses something is off, and they notice that the dragon emblems and everything. Just pulled out a Ruby moment, oh my gosh, and put together that the Kareem will call down Sol Regum against Queen Janai's armies, and that Queen Janai would not stand a chance against a fire-breathing dragon. The two are taken prisoners, and Queen Anya is signaled to stand down. Queen Janai and Queen Amaya go to battle Kareem. Ezran closes his eyes, which General Miana tells him to open his eyes, but Ezran says hopefully he is waiting for a different dragon and calls out Zim's name. Zim arrives and uses his lightning bolts on the guards, and Ezran and Corvus break free, but Corvus is stopped by the guards, which Ezran takes a horse and leaves. Anya uses an arrow with a fire crystal at the end of it in order to help protect Ezran, so he manages to escape to ride over to Queen Janai's armies, saying that they have to warn them all since Sol Regem is coming. However, at that point, Queen Janai leads the attack. General Miana blows the horn to call down Sol Regem. Ezran tries to stop the army, but it doesn't work, and he falls to the ground. Queen Anya then comes over to help him up. The battle ensues, and Kareem is confused about Sol Regem not attacking. Kareem falls to the ground, and he looks up at the sky, asking, "Where are you?" However, we see that Sol Regem and the priest are flying towards Katalis. Dun dun dun. No. That I was not expecting. I was like, ooh.
Yeah, when that happened, I was just
Mhm.
like,
Mm-hmm.
okay. Earlier, when you said that we already knew General Maya was queen, I just wanted to say, period.
So true.
Period.
So
And our
true.
gays, yes.
Our gays are
Hey,
married. They're married.
official, official.
It's
Just
so
want
funny because I played The Sims 4 last year. It was a year ago. I played The Sims 4 the Dragon Prince, very modernized and stuff. And I actually had Queen Janai and a Maya Mary and all this stuff. It's very romance. And at one point, I think one of the guests, they were holding two pieces of cake in each hand. And it reminded me of the two cake speech that she gave back in season 4 or something. And I was like, oh my gosh.
Is it sad that I always thought for a while there that it was going to be some kind of poly relationship between those two and Grin,
Grin.
or
Yeah,
yeah,
Grin.
for a little bit there, just because how he was always
He's always
there,
there.
is he? Because he's just such a cinnamon roll, and
Yes.
but just if anything, like him being that ace
Mm-hmm.
relationship, a arrow relationship guy in the
Yeah,
relationship,
yeah, I could see
maybe
that.
just not understanding, but just the one brought
Mm-hmm.
in as that, because he's always signing for everything she's saying
Mm-hmm.
for them and translating.
Yeah.
That's what it kind of seemed like it for me.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I do headcanon that he is gay because if you go back to season 5, whenever he helps that one elf up, it looks a little, I don't know, maybe, I don't know. He's just
Headcanon,
so fun.
everyone's gay until proven otherwise.
Precisely. But yeah, maybe. I don't know. I'm
But
just happy they're
that
together.
just visual. My strong thing I really want to finally see happen is that if we finally get the third arc greenlit, I'm getting PTSD from Ruby.
Are you?
Yeah, just us having to go through. We're hoping for the green light for season 10 for Ruby. Now
Forever.
we're going through a green light process for the third arc of Dragon Prince and all.
Mm-hmm.
I want, if they do, I want a Raylan and Callum wedding,
Yes.
or at
100%.
least them getting, being officially, just being married at some point. Even
Mm-hmm.
if we don't see a wedding officially for them, I want them married, or I want to see them have a kid.
Yes. Agreed.
Even if it's just a time skip and they have a kid. That's it. I
Mm-hmm.
want to see it. I
Yes.
know that's just a side step into it, but it's
No,
just I.
it
But
just
just
means I
because
need to
we're
write my
talking
story
about wedding,
faster. I know. Well, I need to write my story faster because I'm doing a Rayla Callum wedding story this year, so I'll be writing it out. So yeah.
I just had to kind of add that in since we were already
Yeah.
talking about a wedding right now.
But I agree. I would
But
love to see a Rayla and Callum wedding. I don't know why I see the How to Train Your Dragon, when Astrid and Hiccup get married, that sort of thing. Like, I need that in my life.
Just all the weddings, all the weddings. Um, but something interesting, a little fun trivia fact I didn't even know of, because I went ahead and just pulled up the wiki to see what trivia facts there were for this episode.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, when Ezrin heard Krim, I don't care about him, so I don't care about saying his name respectfully,
Oh, you're
disrespectfully. Uh, the loser elf, some fire elf. No one cares for him. His army approaching. Um, said when he heard of his army approaching, Ezrin said, "This day was supposed to be a day of joy, not bloodshed." It's funny because it's referring to what Asimonium had said in Thunderfall on the day Zim was supposed to be hatched, when Harrow and Viren killed him to avenge Sarai.
I forgot about that. Wow, what a
So
callback.
right? These
God.
callbacks.
They really think it through. This is a show made with love. Can you not tell?
I just had to bring this up and put this little callback in because I love when they constantly do these callbacks because people always say this show it's so rushed, it's so this, it's so that, and it's like no, it's not, because they do things like this, they do these little callback things there, and a show that is rushed would not do that. A show that does little that tackles difficult topics would not be rushed. It feels it. It can feel it. Yes, 100%, because there's so much going on. But it's doing a good job then if it makes you feel like there's not enough time for everything going on.
There you have it. Good. So she's like, I'm done. I'm out. No, we got 2 more episodes. So, which you should get on to the next one.
The end of my topic.
Thank you for coming to my TED Talk, where the Dragon Prince is so awesome. There you go. Alright, so we're going to move on to chapter 8, which is called We All Fall Down. Alright, so as I mentioned a couple moments ago, Katalis is approached by Sol Regum. By now, everyone sees him coming. We also see inside of Katalis, Opeli and Soren are talking about her classes that she has, but just then Sol Regum attacks the tower they were in, and Soren protects her. Sol Regum flies around, and after Soren assesses the situation, he goes to the wall where the soldiers are firing arrows at the dragon, and there are people trying to run out of the city. Sol Regum breathes fire, preventing them from leaving. Sol Regum then attacks the wall, and Soren is hit by a falling brick. He wakes up and tells the soldiers to stand down. Soren says that they need to get people to safety. While the soldier says that they have to defend the castle, Soren says that the castle is just a building and they have to save lives. The soldiers comply, and Soren leaves with Opeli begging him to leave with everybody else, but Soren says there is something he has to do. Soren goes to Viren's cell and says to perform the Hearts of Cinder spell to protect the people from dragonfire. Viren said he gave up dark magic and it required a human heart. Soren says to take his heart, and Viren is torn with what to do. A little bit later on, we see Viren then goes to the king's chamber with blood on his chest and hands. He starts to chant, and we hear Soren going to help people in the castle courtyard. Viren performs the spell, flashbacking him to his family and to him, and the people are covered in a strong stone-like material that protects them from the dragon fire, and they escape the city. Viren sacrifices himself and his heart, saying, I am a servant, and dies. However, Sol Regum is gravely injured, and he crashes in the Valley of Graves, so where the kings and queens and everyone's laid to rest. Sol Regum hears Erebos' voice, and the priest transforms into like Erebos, but like a misty version. Illusion. There we go. The two talk about how Erebos manipulated him once, and he says the dragon's name is Anak Aral, and how he would reward him with death. Erebos brought up the dragon's mate's name. I think it's like Athene Solaire, Aithne Solaire, about how she died, and how it was Sol Regum who actually killed her. Oh, wait, I feel like I'm getting ahead of myself. So he's like, oh, like, I'll give you, like, some peace while you're dying. I'll tell you how your mate was killed. He's like, all right, go for it. And stuff like that. And he's like, oh, well, you killed her. So apparently dragons can do this thing where they breathe in, and they can, like, tell if you're telling the truth or not. Erebos continues to laugh as Sol Regum realizes that it's true, and he's shocked by the news, and Erebos laughs at his pain. Sol Regum starts to attack, and he doesn't bite Erebos, but the corrupted priest. Erebos says, choke on his own pride and arrogance, and Sol Regum tries to breathe fire, but can't, and dies by burning alive. Erebos then says, and so dies the Sun King. I also want to make mention too, I don't know if I read it, but like, the mate of Sol Regum died because he got angry and crushed and like buried her alive essentially. So couples therapy for dragons. There you go. Let's see.
So the one thing that Erebos did correctly.
Yeah.
Getting rid of Sol Regum because that guy was a crappy person.
And so dies the depressed dragon. Aw, and we're also monologues. That's okay. Let's see. So we also see, one second. We see Claudia and Teria arrive at the castle much later at night, and they see the fires, and Claudia says that she needs to find her dad. The two walk around, and Terry sees Viren before Claudia and tries to stop her, saying he was gone, but she pushes him away and sees Viren is dead. Claudia cries until she hears Erebos' voice beckoning her, and this is when she sees the pearl that was still at Catullus. Later, they travel down the Valley of Graves and see the dragon bones of Sol Regum. They then see the illusion of Erebos, with him offering regards to her father's loss. Claudia agrees to help Erebos. He explains the spell to return the living soul to a body. Blood, which represents the ocean, feather, which represents the sky, bone, which is the moon, roots are earth, flame, which is magic of sun, and a quasar diamond, which represents star. We then find out, Claudia finds out that the staff actually had a quasar diamond inside of it all along. Claudia readies the spell, and it doesn't seem right to her, which the spell then stops. Meanwhile, while all this is going on, Callum and Rayla arrive at the Moon Nexus. Lujane and Alan greet them, with Lujane asking if they were a thing. Callum says yes, that it was always Rayla. Callum explains the purpose of them visiting, and Lujane sees one of the quasar diamonds that looks a bit different, and it is a purple rock. Alan says a mineral, potato. She finds out it was an illusion of one, meaning it is fake. They then realize that they only have 2 diamonds, but 3 cursed coins. And then that's whenever we realize that Claudia's staff had the 3rd quasar diamond. Oh, and that was the end of the episode. Okay. That wasn't as long as I thought. Okay. Never mind.
Yeah, it's like, let me go back and start like a list of things Erebos did for the good of did that was justified. Killing Sol Regum. Yes.
Very good. Good job, Erebos.
There's another thing he does later that is a spoiler that I am not telling, but I know you know the one I'm thinking of in season 7.
Oh, yes. Yeah, we'll talk about that towards the end. So, yes, but with this episode, I did love the background music, the animation, the visuals of Viren performing the spell with the dragon coming out. That was so beautifully done. Like, stellar. Everything. Everything.
I feel like that was the best redemption you could have for him. The best finishing of his story you can have and putting him to rest. Um, Fun little tidbits that were going on. Um, our trivia stuff I saw apparently. Little clues they had about this episode title that they put on their Twitter was they posted a video of a drooping rose that can barely be seen while a creepy version of Ring Around the Rosie is heard in the background.
Mm-hmm. And I think
Um,
the voice actor for General Maya actually sung it, and she's deaf, so she actually sung that. I believe I remember seeing that.
it's Zelda. Uh, it's Zelda. Same last name as Aaron. Let's see.
Yes. Fact checking.
We have the technology.
Mm-hmm. Big technology. It's a gem tart.
Doesn't seem like it. It seems like
Maybe I read it wrong. I thought that's what I saw.
it's
This actor. Oh, Sheila Ferguson.
be. I'm gonna post this here and see if this comes up with anything.
Maybe it wasn't. We were saying it's a different name.
Yeah, it's showing us Zelda Ezra. Or the Anya. Queen
Anya?
Anya. Yeah, Queen Anya.
Oh, okay. My bad. I get Anya and Amaya confused a lot, so okay.
Which, which is valid. They're
Also
both queens
Sinner.
now.
Oh,
They're both queens now.
okay. Even more confusion on my part. No.
And they're both start with A, so it makes sense. It makes sense.
Okay, so it was actually Queen Anya's voice actress
Voice actor.
singing. Gotcha. Okay, there you go.
So if you want to hear her singing, you can go find that one.
On Twitter.
So Regan burning down the Catullus castle and Viren using dark magic to save everyone is a callback to what he did in the Soul Regum episode.
Oh yeah.
And then of course there's also there's a callback to the Through the Moon. When within the Moon Nexus stuff, and a funny little continuity error. When Erebos is explaining the components necessary for the spell of returning the spirit to the body, the spell symbols for the moon and the sky are facing backwards.
Oops. It's okay. It happens.
We
Accidents happen.
love that stuff.
Yeah. So, and then real quick, not a trivia fact, but something else I found interesting with this episode was Soren's character development. Like in the earlier seasons, whenever Pyrrha was attacking the town and stuff, and Soren's like, "We got to bring down the dragon, but what about the people?" But now it's like changed, and he's like, "We got to get the people out," versus the like fighting the dragon. I was like, "Wow, character development."
Yeah, and he really thought was like, you were able to sit here and make people resistant to fire before. Do the dark magic to do it again. And Viren was like, no, I'm a changed man. I can't do it and everything. It's like, you want to sit here and save these people? Do it. And he was the only one who can force Viren to
Mhm.
do it to serve Catullus and save people because he knew how to get his father to think of the best thing for the people,
Yeah.
which I just
Mm. It's
it,
crazy.
it's the fact, yes, a little bit of manipulation,
Mhm.
but it was also like he knew it was the you want to be able to save me and save everyone here.
Mhm.
We need you.
Yeah.
That's it. And the fact he looked at his father and was like, "You need a human heart, take mine for
Yeah.
Catullus." And his
Mhm.
father was like, "I'm not doing that."
Yeah. Mhm.
And his father's like, "Okay, my ultimate sacrifice for you, son,
Mhm.
to earn your forgiveness, I will give my own."
Mhm.
But again, I can't stress enough how much
Mhm.
of a in your face regum that
Mhm.
Erebos gave him of just say, yeah, so thanks,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
you kind of he did.
Oh. Yeah, it was definitely very carefully articulated, like story, the words, the music, and everything. So, as we're like talking more and more, I'm like, this might become my new favorite season. I don't know, but
That was so clever how he plotted that whole thing.
hmm
He perfectly manipulated him into getting what he wanted, and I'm just yes. All right.
all right. Are we ready to tackle the last chapter together?
Yes.
Okay. Let me see. I can kind of start with Erebos and Claudia and everything, and then you can take on Callum and Rayla until it's about time for them to cast the spell. Cast a spell. We'll do it that way.
That's
So,
that way the spell is the very last thing,
uh-huh.
and then we'll let you finish with the spell.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Sounds good. All right. So, chapter 9, Stardust. So, we're back to the opening with the sky and everything, the night sky, and we hear the Stardust quote again that we heard back in episode 1. Erebos then explains to Claudia that the spell needs to be cast with love. Erebos explains his backstory on how he had a daughter named Leola and how he called her a unicorn because she was only born with one horn. He described her personality and how wonderful she was. One day, she was taken by a golden dragon and a star touch elf, and Erebos goes to the Star Council and finds out Leola gifted the humans magic, which was forbidden, and broke the cosmic order. Erebos pleads, saying that she is just a child, she's innocent, she doesn't know any better. We find out that Anak Ara saw her do it, and Erebos says it was probably done of love. However, the council says the price had to be paid, and Erebos says to take his life. The Merciful One appears, so this is the character that came and tried to comfort Erebos in the beginning of the first episode, and says that the compromise was a kindness, and the Order decides to take both their lives. So both Erebos and Leola would die because Leola tried to gift humans magic, which was not good. He chose to live and took on a new purpose in life. He talks to his daughter briefly before she is taken away and she explodes in the night. However, a part of her was what created the Sea of the Cast Out, which Erebus filled with his tears for 100 years. This is when we see the beginning scene again, with the Merciful One coming down and saying the quote and everything. Back in the present moment, Claudia cries over the story and says that she's ready to do the spell, but Terry says it was not of love, but with revenge. Yet Claudia does not listen, saying Erebos and her dad did things that were necessary, however dangerous, however vile. Over to you. Oh. Oh, can't hear you. Oh,
Sorry.
it's
It
okay.
has a button underneath that I press to mute and unmute it and
Oh, it's
everything.
okay.
And because of that, I can't see when it's red or not.
Gotcha. No worries.
So, yes. So, meanwhile, at the moon nexus, Callum's complaining about how unfair it is for Rayla to have to choose between Runan and her parents since they only have two quasar diamonds. But she quickly corrects him by stating all three of the Moon Shadow Elves are, in fact, her parents. And Lujang soon arrives to inform them that the portal between life and death will open when the moon reflects and fills the lake. Um, and she explains to Rayla that each of the enchanted coins contains a fragment of her family's soul and will guide her to them. The broken souls of her family will be drawn to the coins and they will not pass into death incomplete. Rayla places the coins into her pouch as Callan gives her a magical bracelet to ensure she will return to the world of the living. They share another kiss as Callan prepares all the necessary ingredients as Rayla jumps into the portal. She soon finds herself into like this other world that resembles the Moon Shadow Forest in Silver Grove before taking the coins out of her pouch and begins to explore. She quickly notices Renan's coin begins to glow, and she quickly runs into Renan, but he seems to like turn into like this half abnormal looking restless spirit almost like almost monsterized look half monster looking, and it begins to attack her. She quickly like defends the attacks while attempting to try to talk to him, but being forced to like knock him away so she can escape because he's not listening to reason. After falling down the hill, Rayla notices her parents' coins are glowing and she sees them dancing together in the field. Once she reunites with her parents, who ask her to dance with them, she talks to them and reminds her parents of what happened on the day they were trying to protect Zim's egg at the Spire. Um, they ask her questions about if it was a mistake giving the egg to Viren that day. And she comforts them and tells them how the adventure went, her whole adventure went about rescuing Zim, um, how they met Callum and Rayla, taking Zim home, and how everything was possible all because of what they did. And they praised her for growing up to becoming a hero. Um, Rayla approaches this lotus pool, remembering it being the last place she saw her parents before they joined the Dragon Guard, and realizing it must be where she departs from them again. She gives their coins to them before crying, wanting them to come home with her, but knowing that they are together and meant to stay together and happy and at peace. Um, they comfort her, saying she will live an amazing and beautiful life and they will always love and be with her no matter what. And with their souls' fragments return, they pass on peacefully. Rayla continues her search for Renan, and finally, she knows what she needs to do to save him. He eventually appears and attempts to kill Rayla again, like It just seems like a callback to the first season when they faced off on top of the castle wall. I'm just saying. And Rayla reminds him of being the greatest assassin and all of him being the greatest assassin of all of Zadia, who taught her to never break a promise, and that his spouse, Etheria, is waiting for him. And Runa slowly begins to, or for a moment, calms down upon seeing the pendant that Etheria gave him before continuing fighting Rayla some more. And that's when you see the environment actually switch to Katalis' castle top. You know, we gotta have some throwbacks in here.
Yes.
Um, for now, he has become ashamed for trying to kill her. And Rayla finally sits here and just straight up has to like break it through to this man that I am your daughter. Why are you doing this? And that is the moment he finally stops his attack and agrees to return with her. And his spirit is contained in the lotus that Rayla returns to the world of the living with and reunites with Callum. Rayla takes Runan's coin containing the spirit around and containing the spirit and places it with the ingredients for the spell before Callum casts the spell. The ingredients all levitate, glow in different colors before swirling together, and the objects all converge in the quasar diamond and casts a beam of light on the coin, which brings Runa back into the world of the living. Rayla and Renan embrace as Callan retrieves the now blank coin. Rayla is about to reintroduce Renan to Callum and tell him how much has happened in the past 2 years when they see a great pillar of smoke rising from Katalis.
It has to be noted too that at the same time, I'm guessing the same time, Claudia is also casting the spell to release Erebus. Erebus is formed into the world and everything. So, but before we can see if that happens, we see back at the Sunfire Kingdom, reception's underway. However, Ezrin receives word about Katalis being attacked by Sol Raycum and starts to cry. Just then, we see that Erebus is free and is a giant titan, which I was not expecting. Is this giant figure? So he puts his hand down and he starts. Claudia walks into his hand and he lifts Claudia up with his giant hand up towards the moon. End scene. And that's season 6. Ooh, we did it.
So, fun fact I learned and did not know at the time when watching this.
Mm-hmm.
So the council, them being projected, their faces in the stars itself. I thought when Leona, or Leola was like having that council and their faces were in the stars and they exploded her,
Mm-hmm.
that it was just happening in the stars, like in the cosmos itself.
Yeah.
No, it basically happened technically in Zadia that it happened, because that's why that crater was formed afterwards. Because apparently, uh, to make things crueler, was revealed later in trivia, and I had to look back on season 5 to see this,
Yeah.
because you don't notice this.
Mm-hmm.
Erebos's prison, the clam with the pearl inside it, was imprisoned within um, Leola's skeleton, and you can actually see parts of that in the cast out sea in that last episode. Because when Claudia is coming down in the squid form, in the background, you can see the things you think they're rocks. It's rib cage. And I'm like,
That's dark.
that is dark. You think it's rocks,
Mhm.
and then you look back through and see after seeing that trivia-thon, you look back through and you look at that thing, you're like,
Crazy. Mm.
the arch elves, the arch dragons, and the high elves who did this imprisonment were cruel to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But then also seeing that he was the size of a freaking,
That
like,
was.
so giant.
Mm-hmm.
It's no wonder that he was able to fill the crater and make a sea out of the crater
Oh, makes sense.
af-
Mm-hmm.
after 100 years of sitting there weeping.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 'cause normally he'd make himself like the size of like humans or just a really tall elf and stuff, like with Viren in season 3, and like Claudia, like greeting her and stuff. So yeah, was not expecting that.
Yeah, because like when you see him like that, you obviously thought that he's supposed to be this size and everything. Like all the elves
Yeah.
are this size, and then that happened, and you're like,
Mhm.
huh?
What is this? Attack on Titans.
Yeah,
Pretty much. So.
tech on elves.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and another funny thing. Another fun discrepancy. During the little ending credit sketches and all,
Mm-hmm.
uh, Rayla's dad in one of the sketches, he's missing his horns.
Oh, is he? Oh
It,
no. Not the horns. Speaking of Rayla's
that's
parents, that whole scene was just so heartbreaking to watch. It was so
it was
sad.
so sad, but it was so beautifully done, and you felt so much emotions and heart. That's one of my favorite Raylim artists. She drew a picture of Rayla holding the lotus and looking into the lotus pond, and then in the reflection of the lotus pond is her parents, and it breaks my heart. But I love it. It's
Mm-hmm.
gorgeous.
It is just bring him back. That's okay. Yeah.
But I'm
So
glad she had that moment to explain, like,
yeah.
had that moment of closure with them.
Mm, that is good. Hmm. So let me see. So kind of go over final thoughts with season 6 as a whole. Any other fun trivia? Any fun facts? Different things.
I There's a lot of things I really loved that this season honestly did. Like, you finally got some answer. Like, first off, Fearing got closure.
Mm-hmm.
I was originally going to hate it if we just had it end like we thought we were going to end in season 5, and there was no closure when you thought he was getting the start of an actual redemption arc. But we got closure,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
and he got a true redemption arc. Like, thank you. I wanted that.
Yeah.
Like, we needed that as
Mm-hmm.
fans.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Another thing that was really good was the what happened to their their Claudia and um Claudia and Soren's parents. I just blanked for a second.
It's okay. Lisa and Viren.
Like, knowing why she even left in the first place, like getting that backstory. I love when we get more of those
Mm-hmm.
backstories. Like that I love that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It makes me excited to see that stuff. Um,
Get a bit more of the lore, more of an explanation behind it. So
Finally getting a clarification on
yes.
Rayla and Callum's relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like I had been saying and fighting with people, I was like, no, they're not. They're not over. I promise.
Mm-hmm.
They're not. They didn't break up. I promise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I, I promise they are on technically a break.
mm-hmm.
But no one wants to believe me. But then that episode clearly states it. People will still probably argue with me and not believe me. But
They're together now.
this was, yeah, this was that picture I was telling you about. I went ahead and just sent it in chat so that you
Okay.
have that for reference.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I'll check it out later on. So, we've been
Yes,
going for a damn long time. So, let me see. Just to
I
wrap
understand.
up season 6 notes. So, my little fun fact personally. So my husband and I, we were coming back from California because this was over the summer. We were coming back from California, getting back to our side of the coast and everything. And come to find out, we had a 13, 14-hour layover in Charlotte's. In Charlottesville? Charlotte? I don't know. Somewhere in North Carolina. We were stuck like overnight and everything. And my goal was to get home, like, I think it was like Thursday night, rest up, wake up early in the morning, start watching The Dragon Prince. And no, that would not happen. So we're at the airport. It's like quiet, it's cold. And I'm just like, I could not sleep. So at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, which is 12 p.m. Pacific, that's whenever the episode released and stuff. And I wasn't feeling tired. So I watched all the first 7 episodes before we boarded the plane. That's why I said episode 6, I had to like contain all my squeals inside because there's like people like trying to sleep around me, trying to like board their planes. Stuff like, it really happened. So I watched the first 7 episodes, came home, took like a 3-hour nap, and then finished the rest later on once I had some energy. So yeah, this will always be a memorable season for me because it's like this is the time where I couldn't sleep. So I watched The Dragon Prince. That was
This is
funny.
this is a time traveling actually worked in my favor.
Oh really? Oh, for me, I thought it was for you. I was like, oh yeah. So, because otherwise I
I
would have had to
also
sleep. Yeah. God.
I also do want to put out there and kind of like help promote the thing that people need to keep supporting the Dragon Prince, especially right now, so we can get Arc 3 greenlighted. Because the more people that do, we can get more. So we, like right now, season 7 has in my opinion, a great, a, okay ending spot. Like I'm fine, I'm satisfied with it,
Mm-hmm.
but more, more,
Always be more.
more, more.
Like
If
some
we
more,
want more,
please.
we always want more. If we want more, support it.
Support it, love it, cherish it, whatever it may be. So,
So
yeah.
that's why I just want to kind of just put that little just a little disclaimer in there, kind of little
Yeah.
push, so
That's
that
totally fine.
maybe more people will do so we can maybe get the green light.
That would be nice. So, hopefully so. Let me see. Any other final thoughts about season 6 before I move on to season 7? Spoilers? No. Alright, so let's see. So, we're going to try to keep it brief. Just a little bit about the Dragon Prince season 7. So, if you're not caught up, spoilers be ahead. You've all been warned, even though I think it's been out for a month now. Go support and love it. So, again, we get the 3rd arc of season 8, 9, and 10. So we'll start with Miko-chan. What were some of your favorite moments, least favorite moments, surprising moments of the Dragon Prince season 7?
Number one. I think this is for a lot of people. Doreen dying.
Yes. Finally.
Yes.
Woo.
Uh Fuck yes. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. I'm just sorry I had to say it. I haven't said the whole thing, but he kind of deserves it because
Mm-hmm.
screw him.
I was not expecting that. I was literally like eating an apple as the moment happened. I like paused mid bite and I was like, eyes wide, like, did that just happen? That was,
Like
oh my gosh.
so many times there had been chances he had been given for redemption, and he spat in the face.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I'm good. I'm good with that. Uh, Runa and Athari's reunion. Oh, I kept waiting and waiting and waiting, and finally, when it happened, I was just
Yes.
my gay parents back together.
Here
Yeah.
we are together. So exciting.
Um,
Mm.
Terry joining the good side. My cinnamon roll.
Tiny. Mm-hmm.
Not in my cards was Ezran losing his mind. Didn't like that. I mean, it was bound to happen, but I wasn't expecting that. Um, the ending with okay. Uh, Asmoni, like okay. So with Asmoneus, when they brought him back, like I lost my lost it over it. Like I was like, no, no, they did not. No. Holy crap, no. And then all that stuff going on. And then they got through to him, okay? And then they were going to get rid of him by that and all. Okay, well, he's going to go anyway because of, bite of an arch dragon gets rid of him. Cool, okay. Tell me why it had to take both of them. Like, he's already gonna go. He's undead. He was bound to go with the sun going up. He's down. He's dead. His time's up by the sunlight. He's gone. Zabea didn't need to go with him. Zim still needs a parent. Why did both of them?
I think
The,
because whenever Erebos exploded, whenever a star dies, everything else around them burns. Because like starlight's so bright and so hot to touch and everything, so that's why whoever was exposed, I guess, in that area, because it wouldn't make sense. Because then
I
how
know,
would like
I know, like, what's her name? The ocean dragon was there, but we saw Zim and how Zim quickly got from one place to the other with the speed. Zabea probably should have been able to get out of there super quickly with her speed. So I'm just like, Zabea, use your brain instead of your lovesick brain and get out of there. Be your parent brain to think, my love for my puppy. He
I
needs to
know he
me.
needs mommy. Oh.
Tell them getting the nice blue and white stripe. Like, hello, sexy. Um, and I guess my last thought, uh, Erida's doing his little fashion show.
That was pretty funny.
It was great. The fashion show and just through the puzzle house going, that was the most fun I've had in 500, what was it, like 500 years or centuries.
Oh gosh. Yes, more
He's
of
a
the puzzle house.
So I think those are my big ones.
Those pretty good ones. So yeah, I liked seeing more of the puzzle house. I liked all of the Raylan moments and kisses and everything. I was like, yay, finally, we're getting fed. I love it. More. Give us more. So that sort of thing. Let me see. The only thing I really had that's been like stewing in my brain since I just rewatched season 7 is Viren wrote the letter in season 6 about everything that had happened and why the mother left. But then, he's gonna offer it to Soren. He didn't. What happens if Soren did get the letter? and read it and everything. I mean, it could have been like one of two ways, or maybe three. One, he didn't read the letter. Maybe he was the one that burned it. Two, he read the letter. Maybe he accepted it, accepted Viren's truth and everything, and said, okay, like that's fine. And then maybe he tries to explain that to Claudia, and then maybe Claudia finally gets on the good side. I don't know. Or three, he could have read it and just been like, this is lies, this is manipulation, this isn't the truth, and then burned it. I don't know. But yeah, I just wonder, like, if he had Viren's letter, would that have changed things? I don't know.
That
He's,
could have possibly
mm,
changed how Claudia might have reacted at that point.
mm,
Or
mm,
maybe changed how they could have tried to look for
mm,
Claudia, or not Claudia, but maybe look for Lisa.
mm, yeah. Because it seems like we got a lot this season, like a lot of like fan theories were kind of like in season 7 a lot, which was like, we got to see Lisa, we got to um, Pip and Hera type of thing, like that whole thing towards the end. It's just like, I don't know, just like Renan coming back. Like there's just so much that was like theorized for so many years, and it's just like, okay, like now we gotta wrap all this stuff up, and it's like, okay. But now then we're gonna leave it on a cliffhanger. It's like, what in the rooster teeth is going on?
I forgot all about that.
It's okay.
Okay, so funny fact about that one. I had commented on someone's video and all
Mm-hmm.
about that Pip thing, and I was
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna say this is fact, blah blah blah, or something like that. And I'm like, yeah, I believe this is going to be fact or something and all. And then this was back in like 2021 or something like that. I said
Mm-hmm.
this, and then someone went on that video and is like, so I'm going to hold your hand when I say this.
Gotta tell you the
I
real
was like,
truth.
so they were just like, I was just like, I was right. I was
Mhm.
right.
I know. That's crazy. It makes me wonder if, again, A, they're gonna find the bird and the bird talks and everything. Are they gonna bring him back? But then would that make him King Harrow again? Could they perform a spell to transfer his soul into like a human body? But then Ezrin won't be king, and it's like you kind of
They
want him to be king. So
they they
hmm,
have one more Quasar diamond.
do they? Oh, they do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they have one
Oh.
more Quasar.
Hmm.
And Ezrin doesn't want that responsibility.
Hmm. He wants to be a kid. Oh, bueno.
Eh,
Hmm.
I
More
didn't
theories.
think of that.
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Oh, and the other thing too is Claudia like flew off into the darkness or something, and the space that she went to almost looks like the opening credits scenes, almost like the timeline space. But she says 7 years, which is the time that it'll take for Erebos' stars to align, so he comes back. I'm not waiting 7 years for Arc 3 people. Go greenlight it, please.
Gosh, Claudia is sitting here at the end. She's like, I'm not like you guys. I know how to show mercy. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
do, do you, honey? Do you?
I don't know. That whole exchange was a bit confusing at first for me. I was just like, I know you're not gonna kill him because he's your brother. You're not gonna kill him because he's Corvus and stuff, but I don't know. Her character still confuses me. Um,
Lola's wish.
oh, I think I have that quote on my Discord right now.
I saw that,
Yeah.
and it's
I love
beautiful.
it. Mm.
And we talked about this a little beforehand. Like Dragon Prince is beautiful with representation
Mm,
of so many people, but I had literally had just found out about her being autistic, and I love that.
mm, mm,
And it makes it so much more depressing that
mm,
they they sat here, put on trial,
mm,
and sent to death a child with autism who
mm,
wouldn't know better or would not have the ability to know,
mm,
who might not even know that what she did was wrong
mm, mm.
or understood what she knew
Yeah.
was wrong, depending on what level of autism she has,
Mm,
which makes it that much more upsetting to know now that I knew this fact because, um, as I mentioned, I have a son with high needs. He's 5. He's nonverbal, and if I was to tell him, say I told him, you can't teach humans magic, and he knows how to do magic, he definitely would not understand that. Like, that's heartbreaking now.
Thinking about it.
It's heartbreaking already from a child knowing putting a child to death for something stupid and that she could never come back. But it's even more heartbreaking. You did that to a child with special needs that you never understood and never tried to understand that child to begin with. Based off the comments they made about her. Because I believe it was comments other people made about her was that they called her strange, odd. So just
But
thought
Erebos had nothing but praise for his daughter. He even called her quirky, which Claudia was once called quirky by that Prince character in season 3. Like, he was like, oh, you're quirky, and Claudia's like making faces at him and stuff. But Erebos lovingly called his daughter quirky. And in season 7, we see that Erebos treats Claudia like a daughter. So
yeah, he kept referring to her as a daughter. He says and tried to save her and said, "I will not have another daughter die."
yeah.
He referred to her as not just quirky but unique, and so as a parent who has a child like that, that's super heartbreaking for me.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So I just had to add that little tidbit in there.
So lots of good trivia and tidbits and everything as we're wrapping up. So any last minute thoughts, questions about anything?
Just subjects and topics that Dragon Prince touches on and tries to bring to light that normal people would not, normal shows doesn't breach to us in such a way that is beautiful and heart lifting. Not always heart lifting, but just beautiful storytelling ways.
Yay, Beat agrees. Sounds good. Alright, well, we're gonna go ahead and leave it here. So this was the Dragon Prince Season 6 with a little bit of Season 7 spoilers. We'll be back in a couple of weeks to talk about Season 7 with a different guest. But I do want to say, Miko-chan, thank you so much for joining, talking about Season 6. I really do appreciate you sticking around for so many hours to talk about such a wholesome, wonderful story, if not heart-wrenching moments, but still good. Again, you can check out the series on Netflix. We're trying to get the 3rd arc greenlit, so please watch. It is such a good show. If you're into like Dungeons and Dragons, it kind of gives that vibe. Just really good music, fantasy, art, animation. Give the first season a little bit of a break, but it's a little much.
And if you do love Dungeons and Dragons, don't worry. They do technically have a module that is Dungeons and Dragons like, so you can also play it. So just saying.
Yeah, they got a lot of cool stuff. So speaking of cool stuff, I'm sure there'll be some videos recommended here, but we just want to say thank you all for taking the time to watch. Make sure to like, subscribe, follow our guest and everything, and we hope to see you in the next Demon Media. Bye, everyone. Okay. And